Misfit Toys.
This episode is brought to you by Progressive. Have you tried the Name Your Price tool yet? It works just the way it sounds. You tell Progressive how much you want to pay for car insurance, and they'll show you coverage options that fit your budget. It's easy to start a quote, and you'll be able to find a rate that works for you. It's just one of the many ways you can save with Progressive. Get your quote today at Progressive.com and see why 4 out of 5 new auto customers recommend Progressive. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Price and coverage match limited by state law. Picture this, a summer evening outside, a warm, relaxing atmosphere to match, and shared with friends. Brighten up your nights with Tiki brand Bite Fighter LED string lights. A first-of-its-kind product, it repels mosquitoes while beautifying the backyard. Each strand provides up to 330 square feet of proven mosquito repellency for your favorite outdoor space. Warm-toned, weatherproof bulbs set an inviting mood. It's a simple, hassle-free way to enjoy your backyard without the use of yard treatments or messy bug sprays. Turn on ambiance and turn off mosquitoes with Tiki brand Bite Fighter LED string lights. Based on studies showing reduction in mosquitoes versus control, efficacy affected by weather, distance from repellent pods, and other factors. Available exclusively at tikibrand.com.
Aptitude, expertise, genius, gift.
I'm the fucking talent.
Hey, what's happening, Mike Schmidt, 40-year-old boy podcast. Did I come on too strong there? I don't know how microphones work anymore. I stare at them, I look at them, I ponder them, I think about them, and then I decide to plunge in. And the reason I'm laughing at the beginning of this broadcast, although you may not have heard the laughing, now that I think about it, the theme song may have drowned it out. That's right. I still have a theme song. I don't even know if I have a show anymore, but I definitely have a goddamn theme song. For the rest of my life, I'll have a theme song. I'm just going to play that when I enter into restaurants and department stores. I don't know why I go in department stores. Why am I going to Macy's? To buy a belt? I'm going to Macy's to buy a belt and play my theme song. So everybody hears it and goes, uh-oh, here's that podcaster who's buying a belt. And I go, I don't know if I'm considered a podcaster anymore. I'm only putting out a show every couple of weeks. And by a couple of weeks, I mean a month. And by a month, I'm being generous. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. The point, though, is the laughing that I did at the beginning of this, again, which you might not have heard because it may have been drowned up by the theme song, which is something that I love with a passion. Hey, that wasn't bad. I carried a note there. Love. Maybe I just sang. What if I just sang for the next, 45 minutes? I never know how long this fucking thing's going to be. So, you're thinking, you're like, well, go ahead and sing for 45 minutes, but then you'll have to talk for an hour after that. And that's one of the impediments that I put in front of myself. When I'm like, I should do a podcast. And then I go, well, now you've waited so long. It better be a 9-hour podcast or people are going to fucking stab you with chopsticks. That seems like a very specialized instrument to stab me with, but you know what? It would send a message. And it also would take the heat off of you. It would probably put all the heat on the Tong Dynasty over there in Chinatown. I learned about them. They are there with chopsticks ready to kill you at any moment. There's guns, there's gunfights on the 4 corners and the 5 points. There's Bill the Butcher there, and if he closes his hands, those 5 points become a fist. And then he will go ahead and have a battle with Leo DiCaprio and the rest of the Irish people at the end. And you don't really get the satisfaction of a good kill. Now, I don't want to spoil Gangs of New York for you, but I will tell you it's a movie you should watch because it's fucking awesome. But it leaves you a little, how do I put it? They tease you with something and you're not sure you get something. They tease you with it, but you don't get exactly what you were looking for. But it's understood. I understand Martin Scorsese's over here now. I'm doing this here, but I'm over here now. That's Andrew Dice Clay. So the reason I laughed or chuckled or chortled, maybe I chortled. Oh my, I can't chortle. That's what a fat guy does before he drinks a brandy. I can't fucking do that. That's what some dude who has stocks does. I don't have any stocks. I can't be a chortler. A chortler is one of those guys who's like in a fucking, in a club with a mustache and a monocle and a fucking penguin suit on. He's got people bringing him fucking beef Wellington and fucking cold potato soup. What a fucking dick that guy is. And yet he chortles up his sleeve because he thinks he's a master of the universe, doesn't he? You know who chortles? Dr. Bombay from Bewitched. And I say to myself, you know what, man? You can't age yourself in this show. You got to try to keep up so the youngsters can follow along and think that you're interesting or funny. And then here I wheel out Dr. Bombay from Bewitched, and people are like, I don't know, like, I don't think Bombay is even a place anymore. Is it? Did they change its name? Is it like Istanbul and Constantinople? Like Bombay is now like fucking Baytown or Bomb City? I don't fucking know. Where was Bombay? Was Bombay in India? I think it was, right? Possibly India, possibly Pakistan, possibly some region of that country there. India becoming increasingly more important here to the United States recently, as it turns out there's going to be a nuclear war and they have weapons, so let's call them and see if they'll help us. But unfortunately, most of their population is busy shitting in the streets. All the guys who know how to run the bomb levers are very busy shitting in the streets. What I'm telling you is India is having some issues, having some problems. They couldn't get a grip on COVID exactly. And also they're doing a lot of gang raping of women on buses, which I got to be honest with you, as a nation, that's not a good postcard to send out to the rest of the world. Hey, check us out. We're a progressive society. We have nuclear weapons. Also, if a woman decides to wear the wrong shirt, we're going to gang rape her on a bus. That's probably bad. You don't want to put that on a tourism poster. Well, or maybe you do. Maybe you think that's what's bringing people to town. You know who that brings to town? All the people who like riding the bus. They're like, oh, look at this. We don't have to pay for a show. We pay a bus fare, and look at this terrible thing that's happening. And you'd think you'd want to be involved, certainly, if something like that happened. I got to be honest, if you're on a bus and something like that breaks out, what do you do? Do you leap into the fray and try to fight off these 6 dudes? Or do you reach up and discreetly pull the brake? Do you pull the brake for the bus and go, you know what? This isn't my stop, but I'm going to consider getting off the bus a little early and perhaps walking to my dojo. Is there a dojo in India? I don't think there is. It's a palace. Maybe it's a palace. Well, it's not a palace. I just said everybody's shitting in the streets. Listen to me. I'm impugning India here, and I don't mean to. India is a lovely place. They've got amazing culture. There's Bollywood there. And fantastic food. I like a naan. Don't you like a naan? Don't you like a lamb biryani? Holy shit, I would stick my dick in a lamb biryani depending on the place you get it from. And that implies apparently someone makes a lamb biryani that isn't fuckable. That's a lie. I think all lamb biryani is fuckable. I will absolutely grab a handful of my own self and plunge it into a plate of your lamb biryani. Now, look, let's put it this way. Maybe not your lamb biryani. I'll fuck my own lamb biryani. I can't fuck yours. Now I'll tell you what, that's a good way to fool somebody. If you ask them, hey, you guys want a fancy car? And they're like, yeah, well, I want a Lamborghini. And then you come back the next day and you're like, here you go. And they're like, what's this? You're like, I got you your Lamborghini that you wanted. And then they're like, wah, wah. But again, you've invalidated your own bit because you asked, hey, do you want a car? I don't know who you're offering to buy a car for. Your son? What if you did that with your son? Hey, son, you want a car? I'll get you any car you want. Hey, I want a Lamborghini. How would you settle for Lamborghini? By the way, I'm now Henny Youngman. That's got to be that's like 1950s bullshit right there. Would you settle for Lamborghini? That was a trumpet noise I made with my mouth that scared me. I scared myself with whatever the fuck that was that just came out of my maw, my giant word hole. All right. So I've already slandered India, and I don't mean to. Look, I'm going to do a joke. Here's a joke I did on stage in Chicago a million years ago when I used to be funny. India and Pakistan are on the verge of a nuclear war, but they said that the citizens there are not worried about it there because a lot of citizens there, they don't know the difference between a nuclear bomb and a regular bomb. They just think a nuclear bomb is louder than a regular bomb. Well, have at it, fellas. I'll look forward to the confused looks on the faces of your shadows when you're flash frozen to a wall for the rest of eternity. That was when Topical Mike used to care about surgically writing jokes with language. I did that joke at the, already we're fucking, I've been on a show in a month, and now I'm here doing Glory Days bullshit about how I used to be on stage a million years ago. That's fucking weak. Although it's better than talking about gang rapes in India. That was probably early to breach that in the show. You know what? If you're going to talk about gang rapes in India, bury it. Bury that lead. That shouldn't be what you open the podcast with. Because I'm trying to welcome, look, I've certainly got older people who've been waiting for a show. And then perhaps there's new people who go, hey, who's this new fella? Let's stumble in and check him out. Gang rapes in India. Click off. Yanks the cord out of their iPod vagina and throws it into the sea. Although there's no more cords anymore. We're all Bluetooth people, right? Aren't we? We're all giving our money to Jimmy Iovine and fucking Dr. Dre. I have a fucking badass pair. I got a couple of Bluetooths. I've got one pair right here that was sent to me by my friend South Philly Paul. They're the Bankers, I think they're called. Beebens. They're the Beebens. And I love those. Those are fine. And those are the ones I use at the gym. Have I talked about this? Again, I will tell you, when I space the shows out months at a time, like a fucking idiot, I'm doing one show a month. Like, who the fuck am I? Somebody special? One show a month. We settle in, we listen to it, but then I forget the shit I talk about. So what if I did one of these days, seriously, I'm going to sit down to do a show, and it's going to be like an exact repeat, an exact replica of a show I did 3 months prior, because that's what's spinning around in my head. Because look, do I have stuff to talk to you about? I do. But I'm in the old days, I used to pull up stuff from my past, and I would talk about that. I'd be like, hello, this happened 11 years ago. Now I don't even know if I talked about it or not. But still, we've kind of caught up in stories. So now the stuff I tell you about is stuff that happened recently. But also, I don't know if I told you all the stuff that happened recently, and I just feel like a dumb fuck. Anyway, our friend South Philly Paul. You know what I think I do? I think I leave a lot of stuff on the table. Like I should have listened to the last show, because I know there was some shit I was supposed to finish. Somebody actually wrote it on Facebook, and people wrote me emails saying, "Hey, I was wondering if you did this," because it was a thing I brought up and I never finished. Hold on, I just inhaled and it hurt my throat. It was like there was like spit there, and it like kind of caught on my uvula. Made a little trapeze. I got a spit trapeze. That's not a bad name, right? Spit trapeze. Oh, spit trapeze off my uvula. Do a double half gainer down into my throat. I'm the throat goat. You know how it is. It's every fucking a couple of months, people realize that Nancy Reagan was good at giving head. You ever see that? I learned that 30 years ago. Gotta be. I think it was Spy Magazine who outed her as being she gave the best head in Hollywood. That was what she was known for. She was in with Sinatra and the Rat Pack. So, she was just getting fucking totally bukkakied by the Rat Pack. And that's not something you put on a resume. It's just, look, you whisper it in hushed tones in dark corners, but maybe you don't want to go ahead and flash it to everybody. And you know why you don't? Because then you don't marry a president. Although eventually you just blow the right guy and he becomes president. And you're like, ha, I fucked the Rat Pack, or sucked off the Rat Pack, or whatever the fuck I did with the Rat Pack. Did she blow Peter Lawford? See, that's terrible. If you blow the whole Rat Pack, you're like, all right, I got to suck off Dean Martin, fine. And then of course, everybody wants to blow Sinatra. I don't know who you are, but he's the king of the Rat Pack, so you got to blow that dude. She probably blew Sammy Davis, I got to imagine. Not his kid, though. That made me laugh. But that leaves like Joey Bishop and Peter Lawford. Did they, on the nights when like Sinatra's just like, throw her to the wolves, and Bishop and Lawford spit roast Nancy Reagan, right? That probably happens. There's got to be some night when like Sinatra's tired of fucking banging around fucking Nancy Reagan's tonsils, and he's like, all right, toss her to the wolves. And Lawford and Bishop get to spit roaster, tag teaming and spinning around. Oh, that's great. Although she wasn't Nancy Reagan then. Nancy Davis, right? Wasn't she Nancy Davis? I don't know. That's the name of a girl who gives head to Frank Sinatra. Nancy Reagan doesn't give head to Frank Sinatra. She just grinds her fucking old pussy into fucking Mr. T's cock while she sits on his lap in a Santa outfit. Or she just sits on his lap because it seems like a nice thing to do. That's another thing. We've taken that photograph and everybody's made it all lewd. I guess I just did 5 seconds ago. But at the same time, you think to yourself, you know what? Maybe she's just promoting anti-drugs and she loves Mr. T. And then she's going, hey, look, people say we don't like black guys. Look at me. I'm in the lap of one right now. This guy, Lawrence Tiro, the guy who ripped the bell off the bar in the World's Toughest Bouncer competition and then was noticed by Sylvester Stallone. I did it again. God damn it. I have to quit inhaling. Well, there is this weird limpid pool of spit in the back of my throat. It's probably bad to go ahead and tell you about. It's going to come expectorating all over the goddamn microphone. And you're going to think to yourself, we waited a month for this to hear a guy hack his own fucking saliva down into his windpipe and form a spit trapeze. That's not fucking good. I can't listen to a guy die on the air. Although, can you? You must be able to, correct? That's why I need a producer for this show. For the last show, when I finally do fuck it off myself, you guys will hear it and somebody can put it out. Now, here's the thing. Does that person record me from a remote location? All right, let's do this. If I am going to end this show with a suicide, like if there is going to be, I always said the last show would be a gunshot. Like the last time you ever heard for this show would be a gunshot. So that's why you can know if there's no new show up and the last show didn't have a gunshot, then we're fine. There's a show coming. It's just a matter of when. So please don't worry about it. Because I always said this thing's going to end with a gunshot, correct? So, and by the way, at this point, I don't know if that's from me or if there's a gang of random gang raping Indians who are going to come charging in here and shoot me because I've exposed their scam. I've exposed their bus scam. Let me ask you this. No, I can't. It's a terrible thing. I just thought of it. It's funny, but it's bad to say, and I will not say it. Oh, Jesus. I want to say it. Fuck it. If you're involved in a gang rape on a bus in India and this poor woman it's just a terrible thing and it's awful. Then there's another woman on the bus and you think we should all rape her. Do you all have to provide a transfer? I'm sorry. I said it. I take it back. All right. Nothing like bus rape to get a show underway. See, now you're like, why did we even want this guy to come back? Of course you didn't. Nobody wants this guy to come back. Christ. All right. So, what the hell were we talking about? Indians, Bengalis, Fucking those dudes. It's bad news over there. And they're fucking, it's just a terrible thing. I read, dude, what the fuck is with the world? The world is a mess. We know this. You know this. You don't need me to tell you that. I just read a story that like female circumcision is up like 78% in Africa. And they said during the pandemic, it really went up. And they believe it's because it makes a woman a better wife if you do. And I guess it's because they're, theoretically, you don't want them to have pleasure with another guy. Once they realize they can have pleasure with their sex organs instead of just being a baby farm, they'll, once they learn about the city, how are you going to keep them on the farm? I think is a clean way of saying, hey man, female circumcision is a tool to fucking repress women and be monstrous. Oh, and I just saw some woman. I have a friend who, a comedian, and she just did a podcast with somebody, and the girl was like half naked in her picture. So I'm like, all right, well, I'll go to the Instagram and check her out. Not my comedian friend, the other person. So then I went to her Instagram to see if she was naked in any of the photos or half naked or whatever. And she did a podcast about cock, and she was talking about how your chakra, if you were circumcised, all of your pain is centralized in your chakra, your cock chakra. And how you need to worship the penis to go ahead and get it out of there and all this stuff. And I'm reading it and I'm just like, man, that's heavy. Look, I'll just share this with you. I'm a circumcised fella and, I'm on board. I'm sorry. It's a clean look. My pal doesn't need a jacket. He's fine. I don't need to wrap my cock in a windbreaker. No, nobody needs an anteater. Nobody. And look, I will go ahead and say this. If you have one, good for you. That's fine. I got no problems with it. I got no issue with it. I don't want to watch your porn. Because quite frankly, it just looks like, somebody in a hoodie is getting swallowed up. It looks like someone's in disguise. Anytime I see an uncircumcised cock, it's like, well, that cock's ashamed of doing porn because he doesn't want to be recognized. See, that's how I feel about it. See, I'm just used to a big fucking, throbbing veins and a huge shiny fucking cockhead. And it's like, there you go. That's porn. The other one just looks sneaky. I saw an uncircumcised cock looks sneaky. It's like it doesn't want to be recognized. It's like, I'm just doing this to get through college, man. And I don't blame it. I don't blame that cock. And I don't blame anybody. Go ahead and be circumcised. But this woman was writing it like it's a terrible thing. And then all of a sudden all these people came in and go, yes, it's mutilation. Yes, parents should be tried. Yes, they should be held responsible for the pain and suffering they cause. I'm just like, man, I don't know, man. Because again, it happens when you're a baby and then you grow up and that's just the cock you got. It's not like they ask you when you're 4 months or whatever the fuck or whenever it happens. Now, look, if you're going to talk about those dudes who chew off the foreskin and spit it in somebody's face. Oh, wait a minute. Hold on a second. All right. I may have added that second part because I know they chew it off. There's the moils or whatever the fuck they are, right? And they bite it off. And I don't know if they turn around and they spit it in anybody's face. I don't know why I've had to add a mobster element to the circumcision by mouth, but apparently I did. You know what? Because it doesn't make any sense. Look, if you're going to bite anything off somebody else's body, the impact is completely lessened unless you spit it in somebody's face. Like Mike Tyson, when he bit off Holyfield's ear, he should have blasted it right back into his mush. Just fucking spit it right in his fucking grill. Take that, your fucking ear. I just bit it off. You want a piece of me? Let's fight. We got gloves on. But these dudes chewing off the foreskin, I think they just like spit it into a fucking envelope. I don't know. And then mail it to 23andMe or whatever the fuck and find out what this kid is, where he was born and what he did. Even though you already know he's only been on the earth for 2 months. I don't know. Is that too soon to do it? When do you circumcise a kid? I got no fucking idea. Does it happen right away or does it happen later? Because I know there are guys who get it done later in life, and I'm just like, I don't even know why you would fuck with it at that point. It's just like when they had all those dick pills or whatever the fuck those procedures were like, hey man, we'll totally give you a bigger dick with this operation. It's like, all right, cool. I totally want a bigger dick. All right, cool. We're going to do an operation where we cut the ligament that holds your cock, and then it's going to hang lower. And everybody's like, yeah, I want to do that instantly. What? Why would you let any fuckhead get close enough to your dick with a sharp object? For what? To gain an inch and a half, maybe? It's not. I quote my great friend David Lee Roth. You do the best with what you got, and that's it. That's all you got to do. And it's. And I get emails all the fucking time. It's all from one guy. No, it isn't. All those like fucking junk emails where they're like, I wish. All right, I'll just tell you. I get this one all the time now. And it's there's one about an African tribe that has come up with an elongation secret. And the husband wanted to learn it. He and his wife were like, I don't know, it was like Livingston and fucking Stanley Livingston and whatever the fuck, some chick. And they go there and they're like, hey, we want to learn about this Big Dick secret. And the fucking chief of the tribe, because again, inherently racist, these fucking emails as well. They still act like there's bone through the nose motherfuckers with big dicks who got lessons to teach us, right? And again, there's always the myth about the black man is sexual savage and the white man is, it's all garbage. It's all of it. All of it is garbage. It's just nonsense. So they, in the email though, they hit every racist button and every inadequacy button. So they're like this team of scientists, and by team of scientists, I mean this man and woman, husband and wife, of course. They went to Africa to learn the elongation secret from a African tribe. And the chief was like, sorry, man, we can't share it. Can't do it. And they're like, we've come all this way. What can we do? What could we possibly do to convince you to give us this secret? And the chief is like, I don't know, whatever, maybe, I don't know, if we all got to bang your wife. And it says literally the scientist went, all right. And he gave his wife to the tribesmen, and her cries echoed through the jungle all night long as she was into it. That's my favorite part too, is that the wife, like if somehow this was real, if somehow there is a team, it's a husband and wife scientific team, we're trying to figure out the history of big dicks, and they go to Africa and they stumble upon a tribe of just swingers, right? And they're like, hey guys, we want to learn your big dick secret. And they're like, sorry, can't help you. But if you want to stick around for some zebra, we're going to have that later. And the scientists are like, no, we've come all this way. And then the chief's like, I can't help you, honestly. But again, we're going to have a monkey soup later. It's going to be delicious. And they're like, we're not interested in monkey soup unless it's the secret to big dicks. And they're like, no, it's just delicious appetizer for our zebra entree. And then the scientists are like, all right, well, is there anything we can do? The male scientist says, and then the chief is like, well, I don't know, maybe if all of us got to run a train on your wife. And to think that at that point, I gotta think, if the guy says that, if the chief even knows enough to go, hey man, if we ran a train on your wife, maybe we'd give you the big dick secret. The big dick secret. That's hard to say. You gotta think there would be some consternation on the side of the wife, right? Don't you think at that point she's like, gulp? And she's like, you know what? It's not that important to me to learn the big dick secret. Because again, the woman she's not, I got news for you. The wife isn't interested in the big dick secret. She's supporting her man. Because you know what? She's a scientist and she's curious and she's a lovely wife. And she's doing what she can to go ahead and look, she thinks this is folly. She understands there is no big dick secret and she's perfectly fine fucking her husband. But she's going to go and, you know what? Yeah, I'll support you. We'll go there. We'll ask. So they go there and they ask. And the guy's like, hey, well, what if we all just fucking, passed around your wife like a fucking zebra leg at a goddamn sit down dinner? And the scientist immediately goes, yes, it's fine. And the wife is like, hold on a second, dude. We talked about this and we were going to get the secret and possibly market it and make some money. I didn't realize that I now was going to have to be fucking, engulfed by these tribesmen. So now I got to fuck everybody. And like she would be, they just presume in the email that she'd be on board. And so her wails went through the jungle, rivaling those of even the shrillest baboon. And the next morning, they give the guy the elongation secret. And now he wants to send it to me via emails that I get virtually every week. And all I got to do is click this link. Now, I'll be honest with you, I have not clicked the link yet for a couple of reasons. One, I don't need the elongation secret. I'm sure it's not going to work. Two, I feel bad for the wife. I know she went and worked her ass off, literally, and did what she had to do, but I can't be party to something that exploited this woman in such a way just to try to help me think that maybe I would gain a couple inches in my fucking old age. It doesn't make any sense. And also, fuck that guy. Because now he's still going to try to profit from it. Like, what that dude should do is he should just be like, all right, well, my wife just got fucking absolutely bamboozled by all of these African tribesmen. I will keep the elongation secret for myself, and I will make myself elongated, and then I will spend the rest of my life making it up to my wife that I traded her for a pack of literal magic beans and a bowl of fucking snake broth or whatever the fuck. What are you doing? But they want to teach it to me. And I don't even know why it has to be these outlandish reasons. I also get another email. I took a screenshot of it too because I was going to save it. And then I'm like, well, no, because if I tweet this, and because here's another thing. Here's one reason I don't post things on Facebook very much. Is because when I do, everyone in the world has a funnier bit or a funnier joke. Everyone just comes forward. Like nobody just goes, oh man, that's funny. Oh, ha ha. Or man, that's crazy. They're just like, what about this? Everybody's got a big Groucho mustache and a cigar. The second I post something on social media, and I'm just like, oh, Jesus Christ. Like, I don't want to. It's one of the reasons that, being a voice amongst millions is no fun because then you're just buried by the millions. But another email that I get all the time, it's like, hey, man, I know you've been thinking about getting a bigger dick. And it's like, well, you are absolutely incorrect. But then it'll say, yeah, we've got this secret that we learned and you're not going to believe it. It started with a crazy Nazi scientist who was starting to make a master race of men who mattered. And now that someone has unearthed it as they found a catacombs in Berlin. I'm just like, what? Why does there always have to be some Indiana Jones story attached to this big dick secret thing? It's like, Dan Aykroyd has to fly me out in a puddle jumper. And then I've got to swap a bag of dust for a golden idol, which I will then trade in city for somebody to give me some big dick pills, and I can fly them back to America so I can profit. I don't fucking know. Why do I always have to get Kali Ma to have somebody's heart torn out so their dick gets bigger? It doesn't make any sense. Although I will tell you this, it does explain the naming of the character Short Round, because you're constantly looking to improve the short round by going on this fucking hunt. All right. How do we even get off onto that tangent? Hold on. I'm going to drink something because I have dust in my throat. I'm going to take a breath, too. I don't think I've breathed this show yet. And I'm going to sniff. Terrible. It's a terrible thing. See, if I had a producer, again, as I've mentioned, we didn't talk about that. If I had a producer, we know they're going to end in a gunshot. So the producer can't be in the room for that, right? If we know the ending and it's going to wind up being in a crazy gunshot, then I'm going to need to do that from a remote location. Like I'm going to have to have somebody record me. Can you even do that? I don't know the science. What the fuck do I know, man? All I know is I talk into this and then I'm here and then I got to fucking clean it up for you guys and post it. And then you guys are like, boo, do it again. But if a guy, if we do hold true to the show's credo that this will end with a gunshot, then I'm going to need a producer again, and that producer is going to need to be probably in a different place. It's going to have to be a remotely located producer because I don't think they want to be in the room. Because again, look, if I kill myself on the air, there's going to be all sorts of fucking questions, all sorts of bullshit, and they're going to go after the producer and they're going to be like, hey man, why didn't you do something about it? And what's the producer going to say? Well, he told me not to, and this was always the end. This was always what we were this is what it was leading to. That would be crazy. Also, let me say this. I am not killing myself. Because again, people are very kind and they've reached out to see what I'm doing as I sit in silence and wonder. And by the way, it means I sit in silence and I'm wondering. It doesn't mean I'm sitting in a world of silence and wonder. Because that just sounds like I'm sitting in fucking Willy Wonka's castle or whatever the fuck all the time. I'm in the goddamn chocolate factory. Me and a bunch of tiny ass fucking green dudes or orange dudes or whatever the fuck they were. What about the silence and wonder? So don't worry. We're joking. We're having fun. But at the same time, still, if I'm not joking, and I do decide to end this with a gunshot, the producer should be in a remote location. I would think that would make sense. And it would be best. I don't want to traumatize somebody by fucking gacking myself in the middle of the fucking show. And someone's like, whoa, what the fuck? Although I guess I should tell them. Any producer who comes on board is going to know that I'm going to kill myself. It's not like I'm going to be a surprise. I'm just going to fucking pull out a gun. I'm not going to Bud Dwyer this fucking thing and just fucking eat a fucking bullet on national television. Although I guess it wasn't really national television. It was a local broadcast. See, Bud Dwyer, you got to think bigger than that, motherfucker. You've got to eat. If you're going to eat a fucking bullet, if you're going to take a lead salad on the air, you got to do it on a national thing. You got to go full on national press conference. I don't think that was being broadcast nationally. Local Pennsylvania affiliate. Who's going to kill themselves for local Pennsylvania affiliates? And I know you're thinking to yourself, well, dude, you're going to kill yourself in a fucking podcast. How much lower could it go? Hey, fuck that. You know what? I might have just as many listeners as a local Pennsylvania affiliate, especially now with streaming and shit like that. Nobody's watching TV anymore. What is there to watch on TV anymore? It's game shows and reality shows. That's it. And This Is Us. Just another pile of sadness where like I see everybody's in a hospital bed in that show, aren't they? Is that even is it like MASH? Is there like everybody in a fucking hospital bed? I see commercials for This Is Us and people are like, oh, it's so devastating. And I'm like, why would you? The world is devastating. Why are you watching devastating shit? But then I watch movies that are fucking devastating too, and I love them. I love it. I love being sad. I love bleakness. I love marinating in sadness. I'm all over it. That's fine with me. go ahead and throw me a lifeline and make sure it just fucking isn't tied to anything. So that when I pull it to try to pull myself to shore, it drops into the water, and I laugh at the irony as I sink to the bottom of Davy Jones's fucking locker. That's what I'm looking for. Play a death trick on me. I don't know. This Is Us just looks like there's like there's a very heavy woman, and then it looks like there's other people, and they're all sad, and yet the commercials, like, they're kind of sad, but then they're like, we've gone through this together, and now we'll make it to the end. This is us. And I'm like, Jesus Christ, did anybody survive this fucking show? What is it, like the day after of sitcoms? Everybody fucking takes it in the ass. Jesus Christ. And then what do I see? Because the only way I see commercials for things is when I'm watching football or something, because then you'll see because they have to do fucking promos. And they're like, tonight on CBS. And it's always 60 minutes. And then there's always something called Ghost. There's Ghosts. And it's, I don't know, man. It's just a bunch of ghosts. And it's like, you know what it is? It's the Funky Phantom. When I was a kid, there was a comic book, a fucking cartoon called The Funky Phantom. And he was just like a fucking patriot from the 1700s who lived in a clock with a cat, ghost. And then somehow, of course, because this is what happens in the 70s, some teenagers freed him from his clock, and then he jumped in a dune buggy and they went on adventures. God, I love the idea of that. Here's the thing. They thought of the Funky Phantom. I might be wrong on the timing of this, and if I am, I'll be disappointed. But I'm gonna go this route. The Funky Phantom came out, right? And it was a bunch of kids. You know what? Let's do it this way. First one that came out was Speed Buggy. And again, I could be wrong about this, but this is how I want to do it in my head, which was a bunch of teenagers had a car that was alive. That's what Speed Buggy sounded like. And they would drive around and get in adventures and solve crimes, of course. Well, again, Scooby-Doo's first because they have a dog who talks and a hippie and Fred banging the chick with a cravat and all that shit. So they've got them, and then Speed Buggy's like, well, we can't do the dog again. What if the car itself was alive? What if the Mystery Machine could talk? And they're like, all right. So then they're in a dune buggy with Speed Buggy, and he's solving crimes and stuff. But also, this is a little weird thing, and I even thought this when I was a child. Speed Buggy is a car that's alive, right? Well, all of them ride around in him. Like, they climb in him, and I was always like, are they sitting on his guts? Like, that's fucking strange. And again, I'm fucking 7. What the fuck do I know? But Speed Buggy's a living car. What am I, Mel Blanc all of a sudden? Hi, guys. I'm the Rich Little of podcasts now. I gotta tell you. So Speed Buggy's a car who's solving crimes. And then they were like, all right, God, we need another, what can we do now? They said, hear me out. Some guy comes in, he's like, hear me out. What if these kids are working with a ghost? They're like, I don't know. Ghosts seem kind of passé. No. It's not. It's very specialized ghost. It's not a sheet-wearing ghost. This is the ghost of like a Benedict Arnold type of patriot. They're like, well, Benedict Arnold was a traitor. Hear me out. Let me finish the pitch. It's a guy from like the Revolutionary War, and he's lived in a clock forever. And then they're going to find him, and then he's going to help them solve crimes as well. But he's gay and terrified. He's gay and frightened of everything. I like it. But again, it's a kid's show. So is there anything we can kind of kid it up a little bit? What if he has a cat? Perfect. Done. So they go into this haunted house. There's a clock. They dust it or something. And then, I'm the Funky Phantom. He comes out. By the way, he wouldn't even know what the word funky meant. He's from the 1700s. Funky was not a word back then. The Gap Band did not exist in the fucking 1700s, or did they? You know why they didn't? You know how I know for sure they didn't? Because you would never write, you dropped a bomb on me in the 1700s, because bombs weren't even invented. It would be like, you dropped a cannonball on me, or you shot a musket at me. You shot a musket at me. I love it. All right. Somebody do that. Somebody write a Gap Band update regarding 1700 weapons. I must have all of their songs, because there wouldn't be a party train in the 1700s, would there? No, it would be a party boat, like a party. What the fuck did Washington? It was just a canoe, right? Or whatever the fuck, a sail. It wasn't a sailboat. He's not Sloop John B. But Washington's crossing the goddamn Potomac in a goddamn boat. So the Gap Band writes a song about that. They can't write party train. They write party boat, with George Washington is the main character. Be sure to get your ticket. You don't want to miss it. General Washington has climbed on board. Everybody, kill the English. Everybody, kill the English-ish. All right. I should have been English. Bound. There you go. That's what the Gap Band decided to rewrite their catalog in terms of 1700s. I am nothing if not a font of great ideas, folks. All right. So, Funky Phantom he's a cartoon guy. And by the way, remember I was in the beginning of this, I was like, I just said something about Bewitched. And what was it? What did I refer to? And I'm like, oh, that dates you. The Funky Phantom completely dates me, unless I'm some sort of cartoon scholar. What if I was a guy in like a mohair suit with a fucking ridiculous pair of glasses on and a pipe sitting by a fireplace talking about the Funky Phantom? Oh, Jesus. And then we bring ourselves to 1972, and the writers again go back to the well of having teenagers assisted by an unusual coterie of ghost-busting friends, not unlike the Funky Phantom himself, and his cat, Mortimer, whatever the fuck. But they wind up at the Funky Phantom, right? And he's their guy. He's like, all right, this is cool. So now they're solving crimes with a gay, terrified patriot and his cat. And he's off doing 1700s things, and he's saying things like forsooth, and he talks like Snagglepuss, and everybody's like, yay. And then the next year they're like, fuck, man. All right, we've done dogs, and we've done cars, and we've done ghosts. Like, what the fuck? What could possibly assist children in solving crimes now? What, in animated form, if we were to draw anything that was going to join a band of kids and help them solve crimes, who could it be? Well, boss, did you go to the movies this summer? I did. And did you happen to see the runaway hit Jaws? Well, I did. Then I have an idea for you. What if we wound up getting a shark to join teenagers in solving crimes? Well, that just sounds like, the public's terrified of sharks at this point. Yes, which is all the more reason to use this shark and give him the voice of Curly from the Three Stooges. I'm sorry, what are you saying? Yes, it takes the edge off of his sharkness. All right, so is he small like the kid? No, he's a gigantic great white shark, and he rides in the car, and he helps them solve crimes, and he talks like Curly from the Three Stooges. So, well, it's still terrifying. Has he got big, sharp teeth? He does. Oh, my God. Well, that still seems horrifyingly scary. All right, what if we did this? What if these same kids had a band, and Jabberjaw played the drums in it? Son, you've cracked this nut. You've solved this case. Write it up. And Jabberjaw was born, a shark with the voice of Curly from the Three Stooges, who plays band in a band with teenagers and also solves crimes. And I'm going to say at that point, they stopped finding a way for teenagers to solve crimes. Probably at that point, they started just drawing like superheroes and police. They were like, you know what? We can't have these. And also, teenagers don't want to solve crimes. And if I'm a teenager and I'm in a band and then like a shark comes in, he's like, hey man, what if I was the drummer? No. That's right. I can actually do the Curly snapping finger thing. I am really good at stuff that doesn't mean anything at all in the world. So now you've got Jabberjaw, and then they said, that's it. We're done. We're moving on. And I don't blame them. How the fuck did we start talking about this? I don't even know. You know where you need to send Jabberjaw? You got to send Jabberjaw and the Funky Phantom, India. There you go. I'll tell you what, take Jabberjaw out of the van and put him on the bus in India, and I'll tell you, that'll clean crime up pretty quick. Unhand her. All right. Aren't you mad I did this? You're probably like, we were okay with him not doing these. That's fine. Just go ahead and put this on a shelf. Let's put a pin in this now, and we'll revisit it later. All right. But again, the world has gone to hell. We know this. You know this. I know this. It's funny. What the fuck was I saying in the beginning? Oh, I was laughing. You know what? I'm trying to cover up all the loose ends here. You know me. Come on. You know me from other podcasts. That's what I do. You may know me from such podcasts as Man, I'm Sorry. and you may, and other podcasts like Man, oh my God, I am so sorry. And also my other big hit podcast, Guys, This Won't Happen Again. You remember that one? That's a huge hit. Go ahead and look for those in the archives. But I laughed at the beginning of recording this because I hit record. Because again, we've waited forever to do a fucking show and whatever the fuck. And also, I'm even late now. I promised people this show yesterday. Like I said, it'll be up Friday morning, late Thursday, early Friday. Well, it's late Friday night. It's like 3 a.m. right now, Friday night. Because and I'll tell you exactly what I did. And you don't care, but I'm going to tell you. And I'm only doing this because I have there's a listener who was like, man, you described making ice and it was interesting. And he's the only one who thought that. Believe me, I guarantee you everybody else was like fast forward through ice bullshit. But he was like, dude, you can make making ice interesting. And that's all the encouragement I need to go, well, then here's more dumb shit that I can talk about. I haven't, whatever. We haven't done this in a while. And so I was determined yesterday, early today, Friday, late Thursday, I'm going to do this. Right. And so, I actually fell asleep on Thursday night and I got up at 1:30 in the morning and I'm like, all right, let's do this. And I was like, let's go. All right, we're doing it. And I set up the mic and I was ready to go. And I'm like, all right, I can't explain to you what happens inside me and my chest and my stomach and my brain. I don't know. I'm fighting through it. Certainly we're trying to do it as best we can. Cause once we're in it, we're in it. You know what I am? I'm like an infant learning to swim. I look at this microphone like a swimming pool and I am fucking terrified. I'm like, no fucking way. And if I have to climb in slowly, I'm like, I'm going to drown. This is fucked. This is never going to work. But if you just toss me into the pool like they do in fucking Belgium or wherever the fuck, you ever see those videos where they just launch an infant into the goddamn deep end and go, all right, find your way out, buddy, or die. We don't care. Honestly, we'll make another one. My wife's got a baby house and I got a cock that works. Let's fucking do this. Swim your way to the goddamn corner. Now look, they're speaking Belgium, so I don't really know if that's what they're saying, but I'm anticipating it's something a lot like that. And the baby is like, holy fuck. And so he just starts scrambling and moving and he's flailing and then he learns to swim and it's fucking genius. It's almost pure when you watch it happen, I guess is the word that I would use. You ever see that? They just launch a fucking kid into the pool and then all of a sudden he's swimming. Because it's like survival of the fittest and it's the instinct survival and it's all of those things coming together in this big bang of a moment where the kid just is like, well, swim or die. And even in his infancy, his tiny brain, his soft spot head, his I shit myself at night countenance, he decides, well, fuck this. I'd rather be alive than dead. And he just starts swimming. It's natural. You just start scrambling and you make it happen. That's fucking crazy. And I see people all the time, like whenever those videos come around, people get mad and people are like, oh, this is child abuse. You should take those kids away. Can't believe these people do this. And in reality, it worked. It's not like they love their kid any less than you do. This is the way they do this. They throw the kid into the pool, and look, also, we gotta go this route too. They're not going to let the kid drown. You do realize that. They're going to launch the kid into the pool. The kid's going to land. And then he's going to start scrambling. Now, if he starts going to the bottom of the pool, they're going to save this kid instantly and go, all right, well, maybe we do this a different way. Or maybe they just throw him into the shallow end at that point. I don't know. I'm not in Belgium or wherever the fuck they're doing this. But it's always so pure to watch because it's this, hey man, swim or die. And they toss him in and the kids always swim. And so, if they just climbed in, they'd be scared or worried they'd have time to fucking think about it. And it's kind of what this is. I look at the microphone and I'm like, oh man, if I do that, I got to climb in and what am I going to do? And people aren't going to like what I say. And then I'm going to fucking what happened? And I don't even know why it is that way. I can't tell you. I don't know what kind of bullshit fucking lack of confidence bomb hit me in the last 2 years. I got no fucking clue. We've talked about it a million times, but it has, and fuck. So what I need to do though, because now we're in the middle of this and now I'm like, all right, well fuck, now I'm talking and we're fine. So once you get your sea legs underneath you, and look at me, I'm a baby. I'm swimming like a goddamn baby. Put me on the cover of a goddamn Nirvana album, right? I'm the guy, I'm the man, I'm the kid. I'm dog paddling, I'm fucking dead man's floating, I'm doing all the goddamn things. I got your baby backstroke working for fuck's sake. Look at me with my fat little chubby cheeks and the drool running down my face, but I'm happy because I'm right back into the amniotic fluid and doing a fucking spinorama. I might do a kick turn in the womb. You want to see me do that? I'll go forward, kick turn, flip, ball and chain and ball change, jazz hands. I don't know how I make swimming dancing, but I do. So anyway, so we're here, we're doing this and people are like, well, so tell us about it or whatever. And why did I even get into this? Because our buddy was talking about making ice. The chuckling in the beginning of this. So then, so yesterday I sat And this is completely true. Like I said, I woke up at 1:30 in the morning, and I'm like, all right, let's do this. Let's bust out a show. Let's fucking do it. You said you were going to do it. You can't give people, look, people already don't trust you. You can't give them more reasons to not trust you. And then I laugh, and then I eat something, and then I go, oh, you can't do a show because you're chewing. Ha, ha, ha. And then I eat more stuff, and that's, one of the reasons now I am as big as a fucking house, because I'm like, oh, that's cool. I just got to eat something to bury my feelings and avoid doing my work. It's fucking great. It's fucking great. I'll just dive into a tub of cake frosting. So now it's 1:30, and then it's 2:30, and then it's 3:30, and then it's 4:30. And look, I'm reading stuff. I'm finding stuff to read online. I'm doing quizzes on Sporkle. I'm doing quizzes on Yardbarker. I'm playing some Wordle, which, by the way, has taken over the world since I was last here. Do you play Wordle? Are you guys playing Wordle? I played Wordle, and you know what? I loved it. Because let's talk. Well, let's strip Wordle to the bolts, nuts and bolts right now. Let's strip it to the studs, I guess they would say. I don't build shit. What the fuck do I know? But here's what I say about Wordle. I think it's really fun. You know why? Because it's just it's not even like a word game. It's not a spelling game. It's just a logic game. You guess your first word, and then you do deductions, and you try to figure out, okay, well, this would fit here, and this would fit here, and I love the challenge of it. Just because it's all about deducing where you're going and what the word could be and checking the letters. That's what I mean. It's a logic game and a math game, really, when you're thinking things through. But I will tell you this, I've played it for probably 40 days in a row now, however long it's fucking been, and I love it. It's really fun. But also, even that has now started to be less fun for me, and this will sound weird. But like, I have people sending me private messages, and they're, on Twitter or whatever, and they're just like, "Hey, what's your starting word?" And I don't use it. I have a different word every day, because to me that's fun. It's fun to challenge yourself by having a different word every single time. If you have the same word every day, then why? I don't understand what the point is. What's the fun? What's the challenge? What's the thrill? So I try to have as many different words. I can, and here's how sad I am. I take a screenshot of every finished puzzle. So when I say I use a different word every day, people can't go, fuck you. Come on, you're lying. I can actually show them I use a different word every single day. It seems like almost every other day someone will write me and go, what's your starting word? You should use a starting word. What are you doing? Here's mine. And then also I get these people who, and again, look, people are lovely. They're just reaching out, and it's because the thing I loved about Wordle is it's a communal experience. You play it and you share it. And I'm normally not that dude. Like, I'm not like, cause you're not bragging, you know what I mean? Cause sometimes you solve it. And I've been lucky enough to get like 5 or 6 of them in 2 words. Mostly I do 3 or 4. It's right now on my word count, 3 and 4 I think are even, and I've had to do a couple of 5s. I had 1 6. I will tell you this. I've only not solved one puzzle, and it was right in the beginning because I didn't know that you could use the same letter multiple times. So like if the word was trait, Trait, like I wouldn't get it because I didn't know you could use 2 T's. I thought when the T was burnt, or when it said a T was in there, it didn't mean that there could also be 2 T's in there. You know what I mean? So I didn't read the rules the first time I played Wordle. I just started fucking doing it. And I think I didn't get the first one right, the first puzzle. And then the double letters thing I didn't know either. And I was like, oh, well, but I mean, since then, knowing that they're in there or whatever, I've never missed. It's fun. Now, is that bragging? No, but it's fun to do. So people were asking me my starting word, but then also it was fun. It was community experience and it was really neat. But then people started writing me. They're like, how come you don't play in hard mode? And I'm like, what the fuck is hard? Like, what is hard mode? I don't even know what. And they're like, no, with hard mode, you guess a word and then you have to use the same letters in the next word because it tells you. And I go, yeah, that's how you play Wordle. And they're like, well, no, you could just guess, because you could just keep guessing different things. I guess there's a way to cheat or not cheat, a way to constantly get the right letters. And I'm like, I wouldn't do that. I go, the whole point is if it tells me there's a V and an R, then my next word's going to have a V and an R. Because I guess people then will guess there's like 3 starter words or whatever the fuck to try to just get all the letters, and then they're happy to solve it in the 4th. And I'm like, well, that's fucking stupid. Like, what is... And this is the way the world works. Whenever anything comes out, whenever anything is fun or interesting or popular, inevitably people will find a way to fucking cut corners on it or I don't want to say cheat, but play it differently or solve it in a way where they don't lose. You know what I mean? Where they just kind of, exploit the gaps, and it's the same thing in football. It's the same thing in baseball. It's like the baseball with the shift. They put the shift on because they turned out they can actually neutralize hitters, and people are now mad. They're like, ban the shift. And it's like, well, no, don't ban the shift. You learn to hit the ball somewhere else or something like that. It's the game evolves. That's how it works. And I guess that's how it would be with Wordle, is where everybody learns to play a different way, and so they can get it in 1 or 2 letters. But to me, I'm like, what's the satisfaction of that? What's the point? You know what's fun? The fun part is coming up with a different word every day and then deducing the letters and words and then figuring out what it is. And then I share it. And it was at a time that I find myself increasingly isolated. And by my own choice, by my own volition. I wouldn't say choice. When I don't put out a podcast, as you know, I don't answer emails. I don't answer Facebook messages. I don't write and participate very much in social media because, again, as I've said many times, I feel like if someone writes me a note and then I answer it, they go, hey, why are you answering this note? You should be making a podcast. And I'm like, fuck, you're right. I didn't do my homework. What I then do is I prefer to let all of my relationships stagnate, and I don't talk to anybody. I don't reach out to anyone. And so it's me in my house, my apartment. And look, I can get along great watching movies and stuff. I'm more than happy to watch Michael Clayton or Goodfellas or Ocean's 11 again. I'll happily watch those. I watch a ton of new movies. Let's talk about this. If you have Netflix, I don't know if you're musicals people. Do you like musicals? I will tell you that I enjoy musicals very much, and certain musicals. Like I've never watched Oklahoma. I've never watched South Pacific. Like, these are the classics of the genre. But I've never watched them. But modern musicals, I'll definitely watch. And look, I love West Side Story. I didn't watch the remake yet, but I will. But you find yourself going, well, I like this. I don't like this, whatever. But I watched a movie on Netflix called Tick, Tick, Boom. And I don't know if you've seen it. I don't know if you even know it exists. But it was... I constantly being advertised, and I'm like, I don't even know what I did. And I didn't even know it was a musical, quite frankly. I just saw that Andrew Garfield was in it. And it looked like it had a musical number in it from the trailer I saw. So I was like, all right, well, I'll give this a shot. And I've watched Tick, Tick, Boom like 4 times. And that's 4 times all the way through. But then I've also watched it more than a few times, scanning through just to musical pieces or scanning through just to certain scenes. If you don't know what Tick, Tick, Boom is, it is the story of a guy named Jonathan Larson. Jonathan Larson is the guy who wrote Rent, the musical Rent, which, by the way, I haven't seen Rent. I've not watched Hamilton. I know these are things I'd probably see. I went and saw Book of Mormon. It was fucking incredible. I would probably love Hamilton. I just haven't watched it. But Tick, Tick, Boom is the story of Jonathan Larson. He had a play called Superbia. And Tick, Tick, Boom. And, all right, well, let's get away from the movie for a second. Jonathan Larson wrote a play called Superbia. And he spent years trying to get it ready and get it ready to pitch to investors and get it set up on a stage somewhere. And he started to panic because he was getting older. He was working as a waiter in a diner and he was struggling. He was writing as many songs as he possibly could, but it wasn't really clicking. And he started to worry that he wasn't ever going to make it. He started to worry that it was never going to work out for him and he would be pouring coffee for the rest of his life. Now, I should tell you, he had these thoughts when he was 29 years old. So it's common, man. You know, a lot of people are going to turn 30 as a milestone birthday and they say to themselves, well, fuck, what have I done? What am I going to do? What can I do? Is there still time for me to do the things that I want to do? And so he was 29 trying to make Superbia happen. And I don't want to spoil things, but after Superbia, he then made a one-man show called Tick, Tick, Boom, which was the story of him trying to get Superbia made and him worrying about whether or not he was going to make it in musical theater at his age. Now, I didn't know any of this about him. I knew nothing. I knew he did Rent, and that was it. So I watched Tick, Tick, Boom, and so then Tick, Tick, Boom, the movie, is the story of him working at the diner and trying to get Superbia mounted and launched and writing songs, and there's songs weaved in, and then there's the conceit is they're showing him on stage, so you're watching the movie of the one-man show Tick, Tick, Boom with flashbacks explaining what he's singing about and the stories that he's telling. It's not nearly as fucking confusing as I'm making it sound, but it's fucking glorious. The song, and look, is there some, because Lin-Manuel Miranda directed it, so is there a lot of on-the-nose type of stuff? There is. Are there metaphors for things? Yes. Do you see them coming? Of course. There's a stuff that's really, really on the nose. And again, it was written at a different time. So you figure Tick, Tick, Boom is from, I think, 95 is when he did it, or possibly 91. I don't know. What the fuck do I know? All I know is it's a movie that Andrew Garfield stars in, and he is, dude, I saw Spider-Man, or Spider-Man, if you will. I don't know if you saw Spider-Man. I don't want to spoil anything. This was No Way Home, I think is the new one. And it's fucking great. It's just, if you haven't seen it, it's really, really fucking great. And Andrew Garfield is in it, and he is so, so good. And Andrew Garfield is a dude who I don't know if I would ever stop hugging him when I met him. He just seems like magic. And also, I will tell you this. I saw him on Stephen Colbert. He told a story about grief. If you haven't seen that, Google it. It's a fucking heart ripper, man. Because he had lost someone very important to him. I don't want to give things away. I think it was his mom. Maybe a grandma. I don't know. Cousin. Who the fuck? But he's telling the story to Stephen Colbert. And he's getting choked up as he's telling the fucking story. And you're watching it and going, I want to hug this dude like over and over. But I also will tell you this. I was torn between two things. I'm like, Jesus Christ, I love this guy. And I want to hug him because this is amazing. And also, Jesus Christ, this fucking guy's English? I had no idea that this dude was English. I had no idea Andrew Garfield was English. I just didn't. I've seen him in Social Network. I saw him in the Jim and Tammy Faye movie. I saw him in a billion different things, and I had no fucking idea this guy was English. And he's talking to Colbert, and I'm like, is he doing a bit? Like, is he Madonna now? Like, trying to fucking, like, get ready for another role? No, that's who he is. He's an English fucking guy who, again, just like any other mystical Englishman, can become an American in a fucking second. And you're like, how the fuck did that happen? I don't know. It's like they get on the plane, they land in New York, they have a slice of pizza and a hot dog, and they can talk like an American for the rest of their goddamn career. I don't know how the fuck it works. Meanwhile, you got us, every time we try to do English accents, we're like, hey, right, Andrew Garfield, that's right, he's great, right? I turn into a cockney fucking idiot. I sound like an extra in a pirate movie, for fuck's sake. It doesn't stop me, though. I love doing that accent. I'll do it when I'm on Twitch and I'll play games. I always make somebody English. All right. This how it is, right? Yeah, in the street, go throw that in a dustbin, right? I love doing that accent. It makes me happy. Even though it's bad, I don't care. I know you're like, oh, you don't sound like an Englishman. By the way, if you just booed me on a podcast, go fuck yourself. I don't know why you did that. Why do you have to hurt my feelings? And you think I'll never know, but I heard one of you. I heard boo. I absolutely heard it. It echoed in my head. Now, is there a chance I'm booing myself? You're goddamn right there is, but there's a chance of that every goddamn day. As I sit alone in my apartment watching Andrew Garfield for the 8th time. Tick, Tick, Boom is amazing. You must watch it. But I will tell you this. So here's where it landed for me. Not only is it an amazing musical with fucking brilliant songs that I really enjoyed and loved, but there's also a story, as I've mentioned. He's worried. He's trying to keep a relationship together while he's trying to make it in his chosen industry, and he's juggling friendships as well. And also, he's very worried. He's aging out of his business at 29. He's very worried that he's never going to make it, and that resonates in my head. Because I've been doing a whole lot of, you're 54 and you might have missed it. You missed it in stand-up and you missed it here in podcasting. I mean, are you done? And that kind of stuff just echoes and reverberates through your head in the middle of the night when it's 3 or 4 or whatever the fuck. For me, anyway. I don't know. And it's because, as I've said many times before, I don't have a wife. I don't have kids. I don't have anything else to love or care about rather than my own situation, I suppose. And I, rather than seizing the day and grabbing the reins and next man up and any other number of fucking bullshit things we've talked about on the show in the past, I shrink to the challenge. A lot of people, you know what? They rise to the challenge. They rise to the occasion. I shrink to the challenge. I see it and I'm like, well, that seems like a rough challenge. What if instead, hear me out, what if instead I bought $40 worth of Chinese food and I watched fucking awesome movies that I love? And I'll tell you what, that is a fantastic life. We've talked about it many times before. If there was a way I could be paid to like sit in a human zoo, like in a Twilight Zone episode, and people just watch me eat Chinese food and watch fucking great shows, I would love it. And I'd be charming. I'd go to the bars and I'd interact with people. Like if there was a jail, but it wasn't a jail filled with rape, but it was like just a jail filled with cheerfulness where you talk to people who get to look at you in your cage, and you had the things you wanted, like the food you wanted and the TV shows and all the streaming and all that stuff and sports. Dude, come on. You wouldn't do that? See, this is what happens when you're 54 and you're like, I'm giving up. It's over. That's it. We're done. We're spiraling off of a goddamn cliff. But we're not. We're fine. Because again, once you climb out of the morass, once you get yourself out of the ooze and you shower and get this patina of filth off of you and you go, you know what, maybe there's hope. Maybe I can do it. Maybe there's something. And you just gotta do it, right? But boy, do I hate the doing it part. You know what I love? I love talking about doing it. That's fun. Oh man, we got to do it, right? We're going to do it. Let's fucking do it. And then it comes time to do it. And I'm like, oh, look at the time. Holy shit. It's 54 past my life. I got to fucking get out of here. I can't possibly do it. But these are the things that keep me up at night. That's the pickleball game that's being played in my fucking skull at any other goddamn moment you could possibly think of. So watch Tick, Tick, Boom, I guess is the point I'm telling you. That's my arm, by the way. That noise. That's my arm. Don't think it's anything. It's not my throat or my gut. That's my arm as I move it on the table. And by the table, I mean the desk. So, go ahead and watch Tick, Tick, Boom because it'll lay you low, man. It's just fucking great. And he's so good in it. And who's the fucking Vanessa Hudgens is in it. She's an amazing singer. And also just, she's a lovely woman. She's a handsome woman, if you will. And she sings her ass off in it, and boy is it! And the songs are just devastating. There's, when I was, I can't even do it. I won't even. I'm not going to bore you with it. I'm not. But the songs are just beautiful, and they capture his moments so well. I would watch Tick, Tick, Boom if I was you. What was I talking? Oh, so I was talking about when I was laughing at the beginning of this. So yesterday night, again, it got to be 3, it got to be 4, and then it got to be 5, and then it got to be 6. And then my brain, all right, you're going to do this? It's early. Now it's early Friday. You said late Thursday, early Friday. Well, now it's early Friday, so you better get this done. And then it was 7, and then it was 8, and then it was 9. And now, again, like I said, I've now been up like 9 hours finding anything else to do rather than do this or do the work or do whatever. And it's just, I don't know how to explain to you why it is that way. It just is. And I'm crawling out of it. I am. Someday, maybe we can crawl out of it and not have to talk about it anymore. Maybe, wouldn't that be grand? But then it got to be 11:30, and then it got to be noon, and so now I'd been up for 11 hours at that point, and I fell asleep. I fell asleep on the couch, sitting there pondering what I was going to do, and then I woke up, and it was 8:30 at night. So not only was the show not out late Thursday, early Friday, not only that, but I also missed Twitch. I was supposed to Twitch. And here's the thing. Because usually I tell people, I'll be like, man, life got involved and I couldn't do it if I went up at an appointment or I got to run away. But if I don't let people know or if I don't put anything out, people they worry and they're like, are you all right? Because I had texts and stuff. And so then I'm like, yes, I'm fine. Everything's okay. But sometimes I don't even want to answer those because I'm embarrassed and ashamed. What a fool, what I am. But anyway, so here we are now. So the reason I laughed in the beginning of this, because I've waited, like I said, I waited 12 hours yesterday into the afternoon and then fell asleep for 9. And then we waited again a few more hours here until starting the show whenever we started it. And I sat down, I was like, all right, here we go. And I hit record and the microphone didn't work. Audacity couldn't identify my microphone. And I was looking at it, I'm like, oh, and I just fucking laughed at myself. I'm like, you are the fucking, because this has been happening with my Twitch broadcasts too. Like one of the cameras isn't being read by the computer anymore. And then the microphone wasn't being read, but then the camera was also read, but it was dark. I mean, and again, I don't have a fucking clue how to do any of this stuff. If I can push a button and talk, I've said this from the jump, from 13 years ago when I did the show, all I can do is talk. I'm lucky enough that Lily showed me how to fucking edit this thing after she bailed so that I can get it into your ears eventually. I can talk and then fucking put the commercial in and put the spots in and all that stuff. You know what I mean? It works and that's fine. That's all I care about. But with the Twitch thing, man, I got no fucking clue. I sat down with my buddy Ahmad and I wrote down, I took copious notes, but then here's the thing. I updated like Windows 11. And in my brain, when I did it too, I go, oh man, this is going to fuck this up, right? Isn't it? This is probably going to fuck everything up. And I go, nah, it won't. And then the next day, the fucking camera didn't work. So then I had to unplug everything from the wall and unplug everything, because that's the extent of my technical knowledge. You know, I'm the guy. If you asked me to go to get a toolbox, I would open up the toolbox, and all that would be in it would be the breath you blow into a video cartridge. That's the extent of my technical knowledge. Just like from an old Nintendo, just when you're trying to blow it in there, you go, oh, there you go. I probably fixed it. That's probably right. So all I do when my Twitch doesn't work is I literally unplug everything. The microphone, the console, there's this thing called the Elgato. It's kind of the go-between with the computer and the PS5 or 4. And I unplug it all, and then I replug it back in. Or I turn off my fucking, I don't even know what's it, router. There you go. I turn off my router, then turn that back on. Like, that's it. That's the extent of my technical knowledge. And if that doesn't work, I just sit here and stare, and I'm like, fuck. And how many times, you have no idea, I've gone to Twitch, and I've turned it on, I've set it up, and the camera's working, everything's fine. I turn the microphone on, and I'm talking for like a couple minutes, and I look over, people are like, I can't hear you. And I'm like, son of a bitch. Because now I'm on live, all right? So people then can see the frustration on my face as I can't fucking solve any of these issues, and I turn into a goddamn chimp banging on the table, wondering why the fuck things won't work. Just a kid with a spoon and a toaster, just furious, making noise with nothing to go ahead and fix. Terrible. So so when I sat down and the microphone didn't work with the podcast, but with my laptop, I fucking laughed. I was like, of course. And then I did what I did. I rebooted the computer. I closed Audacity. I unplugged the microphone. I unplugged this. I plugged that back in. I rebooted stuff. I turned it on. I plugged in the microphone. And thankfully, it worked. It only took one round of unplugging and rebooting, but then it worked. And that's why when I hit start and it was recording, that's why I laughed in the beginning of this show. So now you know. So please don't think I have some wry joke as I chortle to myself off in the middle of nowhere as I laugh and as I, about to dive into a plate of partridge or quail or whatever, some other rich people food. Rich people, why do they eat the tiniest birds? They eat those fucking Orlons. We talked about that before. They're so ashamed they got to put a fucking gallows hood over their head to chew up a live bird. What the fuck is wrong with you? Jesus. And I'm a guy who eats a bunch of crazy shit, but I mean, dude, really? You want to eat some living bird so you can hear it sing out its last song as it goes down your fucking gullet right past your spit trapeze? Jesus fucking Christ. Jump into a goddamn vat of hot oil, tubby. Fry yourself up and take a bite. Biting these chewy birds, you fucking dick. We shouldn't even know these birds are chewy. They should just be out singing. They're fucking birds, man. They build nests and sticks and lay eggs, and they're miracles. They're flying around in the sky. Now, look, I'll eat the fuck out of a chicken. You know why? Because they're filthy. They live in a coop. And now you're like, well, they only live in a coop because they make them live in a coop. Why don't you fuck off with your fucking chicken defense? Nobody needs you to be the goddamn fucking LA law of chickens. Stand back. Don't put up you know what? You want to do that? Put up a billboard. Hey, have you been injured in a chicken eating accident, chicken? Then write me a note and I'll fucking get you at 1-800-CHICKEN. Why would you defend chickens? But also, I got news for you. If a chicken's been injured in a chicken eating accident, you know what that means? He's gone. That chicken has been fried and crisped and eaten and swallowed and shit out. And there you go. Now I walk off and I continue my day. You're going to try to sue me? Hey, I'm going to sue you for eating that chicken. That chicken's family hasn't hired me as a goddamn counselor. I'm going to go, guess what? Find the remains. You're not going to find any chicken bones. You're going to find any chicken DNA? Sorry, buddy. It's already floating down Toilet Town out to the middle of the ocean. Go to the ocean. Swim out to the middle of the ocean. Try to find that chicken fucking refuse. Not going to happen. Fucking uppity chickens hiring these goddamn lawyers try to sue me after I chomp them. I'm going to chomp you, chicken. There's nothing you can fucking do about that. That chicken's getting fucking chomped. I say it every time I see a chicken. Chicken, you're getting chomped. I should probably be friendlier to chickens, right? They're nice. They've done nothing to me. What if they did, though? What if I told you a long story about chickens being mean to me when I was a kid? See, and you wouldn't believe it, probably. You'd be like, nah, I don't believe it. You're just looking for an excuse to eat chickens. And I say to you this. Yes, you're right. Chickens have never been mean to me. If you were to stack all of the mean things chickens have done to me on one side of a scale, and all of the mean things I've done to chickens on the other side of the scale, well, let me tell you, that would be a visual interpretation that would leave no question that I have been much meaner to chickens than chickens have been to me over the years. Because they're over there on their little side of the scale, nothing at all. There would be literally nothing because a chicken has never done me wrong. A chicken I've never even received a cross look from a chicken. The only thing I could say that a chicken has done to be mean to me is, you ever accidentally bite that part of the chicken that's bitter? Because there's a thing, the chicken oyster, that's like really fucking good. That's often, it's in the dark meat. But then occasionally you'll bite that like It's almost like a fucking, it tastes like liver, but it's not. Because chicken livers are delicious if you make them right. But if you're eating fried chicken and you bite something bitter, you're like, and that's the chicken's only weapon at that point. That's how he unleashes his bitterness via his carcass. A bitter chicken carcass as you buried your teeth into it. So chickens did that to me. And also, if you ever crack open a chicken egg and it's got blood in it, you ever do that? Jesus, that's no good. That's happened to me a couple of times. And you know what the worst part is? This is why when you're trying to make fried eggs, if you're cracking them into the pan and then a blood egg shows up, those eggs are ruined. All of them. You got to throw them all in the trash. You can't just carve out blood egg because that blood egg is fucking, because let's put it this way. The second that blood egg hit the pan, it contaminated the other eggs, whether by sending its own blood via the splatters or by whispering to it, we're taking this guy out. Because that's all a blood egg's trying to do. That's a message from a chicken. Fuck you, man. My blood egg is coming for you. So you can't eat a blood egg. Just let's put it, and I could be wrong about that. I could be wrong that that's a chicken line of defense and he tries to go ahead and rally the troops after his death. But I will tell you this. I don't want to take the chance. What if I'm right? We've had a lot of what if I'm right possibilities on this show. What if I'm right? Don't give your organs to the fucking scientists. What if you need your liver in heaven? What if when you go up there again, like I've said many times, Jesus is like, you got your liver? You're like, no. He's like, fuck you. You're a janitor. Like, what the fuck? Why do I need a liver up here? And you're like, He's like, cuz, you know what, man? You think we've somehow cured bile? We haven't. Who'd you give your liver to? Some guy named Steve? Steve's going to come up here. And Steve, you know what? We give everybody one liver. One liver. That's it. One liver, factory issue. Quit fucking giving your livers away, dummies. That's what Jesus says. We're giving you one factory issue liver. Because you know what? When fucking Steve comes to heaven, he's going to have your liver. And we're going to bust his balls too. Because he's going to be like, dude, Steve, what'd you do to your fucking liver? And he's going to be like, I don't know, man. I drank some beers. And then the next thing you know, I had to get this guy's liver. And he's like, well, guess what? You're a janitor. Yeah, you know what? I'm introducing that. Not only is giving away your organs a bad thing, but getting new organs is a bad thing. If you get a kidney from your cousin, you're both going to hell. I don't even send you guys to heaven. You don't even have the conversation with Jesus. You guys are going right to the other place, man. It's an express elevator all the way down. Couple of fucking kidney sharing dickheads. Way to go. Enjoy your fucking time with Hitler. And you have a conversation with him. Oh, and good to see him back too in the news. Great. The fuck is going on in this world, man? Unbelievable. A war. Think about that. Last time I was podcasting, we didn't have a war. And please don't be, I don't want to say names, but I know people who are just like, oh, this war is a big deal, but what about all of the secret missions the United States has been running in Yemen for the past 5 years? Yeah, I know, we suck. Okay, what do you want me to do? You want me to, like, when Russia and Ukraine are at war, Russia invades Ukraine, am I supposed to be like, oh yeah, I'd care about you, Ukraine. I'd love for good or bad things to happen, but Yemen is on the top of my list. You know what I say? Fuck the United States for bombing Yemen, and fuck the United States for bombing Somalia, and for bombing Afghanistan, and fuck Russia for bombing everybody, and fuck everybody for bombing anybody, because you know what? I'm going to quote a great philosopher by the name of Boy George. War is stupid, and people are stupid. And I don't know the next line, but I'm sure it's something else about people being war. I know that they yell war. I'd probably have to sing it if I get to get the line. War is stupid, and people are stupid, and I've seen thoughts. I don't even know the words. I don't, but I do know the main idea that he was trying to get across, and I believe him. War is stupid, and if you can't listen to a drag queen from the 80s, then what the fuck are you doing with your life? If you're not going to take advice from a drag queen from the 80s about the geopolitical landscape in 2022, then I can't fucking help you. La da 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 do 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 do. War, a fucking war. I was podcasting a month ago, and there was no war. Now there's a war. And look, again, there were bombing runs and sorties and whatever the fuck was it, a police action. I know they always change the fucking words. Yes, I guess we're at war with Yemen. But how much, let's be honest, let's go and say this. How much of a war are we really at with Yemen? When the United States just comes in and carpet bombs the shit out of Yemen, and Yemen sits around and goes, man, I can't even enjoy my lentils because the United States is raining bombs in my yard. You know what I mean? Like, it's not like Yemen is fighting back. Yemen, the Yemenis have one bullet, and they keep it in a safe. And by a safe, I mean a hole in the ground. And they haven't dug it up yet because they're like, well, maybe the United States will just stop bombing us. Wouldn't that be great? And look, I say this knowing full well that there are probably, and again, not even probably, there are highly cultured people, there are highly educated people in Yemen. They don't deserve this shit that's happening to them because, again, it's not like the whole country of Yemen is mad at us. I learned a lot of this when I went to Kuwait, when people were telling me, oh, watch out, and everybody's mean, and get your head cut off, all that dumb shit. And then you go there and just go, you know what, man? I'm playing FIFA soccer with these fucking people. Because people aren't governments. People just want to live their fucking life. So in Yemen, there are people there who are suffering because of this dumb fuck bullshit that like probably 30 Yemenis did or whatever the fuck, their government or their, I don't know, they have a junta. I don't, no idea. I couldn't tell you the first thing about Yemen and Somalia being bombed other than I'm sure there's some warlord who's doing all this shit. And then we go in there and we fuck things up. And then there's other people who are just like, hey man, I just wanted to watch a fucking ghost patriot come out of a clock with his cat and go solve crimes. Like there are people in all of these nations who don't want anything to do with fucking war because war is fucking dumb. It's stupid. It's just, I'll tell you, when I was a kid, and I've talked about this before, I'm sure, in 1991, we had the first Gulf War with Saddam Hussein and all that bullshit. Was it in 91? Was it Hussein? No, in 91 was the fucking, that was when Bernard Shaw's hiding under a fucking couch, right? Him and Peter, whatever the fuck, that guy who looked like a scrotum. You ever see that guy? That fucking reporter who looked like a scrotum, Peter, whatever the fuck. Not a good looking fella. And they're both hiding under beds talking about bombs. And we're bombing the shit out of those people. And I thought back then, I'm like, yeah, exactly. Let's turn the Middle East to fucking glass, man. Let's do it because I'm 24 years old and I know any fucking better. And then age brings wisdom and you go, you know what, man? Nothing matters except happiness. Nothing at all. Nothing. That's all that matters. And it's impossible to cultivate happiness when there are bombs falling around you and your brothers in arms are being murdered or people you know are being killed in friendly fire or even bombs hitting civilian houses and shit like that. It's just fucking weak sauce, man. What are we doing? What are they doing? Fucking Russia and Ukraine. And also, here's the thing. When it first happened, I have to admit, they were like, Russia's threatening to go into Ukraine, whatever. And then they did it. And here's the thing. We always hear about like the United States they did a drone strike in Somalia, or we did a drone strike in Yemen, or we occupied Afghanistan. All these cute words that don't say really what we're doing over there. Well, Russia was basically like, yeah, no, we're going to fuck these guys up. We're going to war. And so I thought, again, after years of seeing bombing runs and things that last an hour, and then they go, okay, well, are you going to do what we say now? You know, all that horse shit. Well, now I was expecting Russia to maybe, launch some missiles, maybe, because they kept saying, well, Russian troops are on the border and they're building more and more. And I'm like, well, that doesn't really mean anything. Because again, that could just be them trying to scare everybody. Because that's the thing we were fed. Oh, they're just trying to scare and intimidate Ukraine. They're trying to intimidate the West. They're trying to scare people. And so I'm just so used to the United States trying to scare people that I was like, all right, well, that's what they're doing. But then they said Russia was going to invade, and they invaded or whatever the fuck, and they started bombing. And I'm like, all right, well, this is bombing cities. But then they said, no, they're coming. And then there was a map that showed they had attacked from like 6 different flanks. Like they came in 6 different fucking ways. I think they even came in through Belarus, so they were planning on it. And again, please don't hold me to the fucking fire for facts. I'm a podcasting idiot. I'm no Tokyo Rose. So don't fucking say, well, why don't you have all of the information about the war? Although I think Tokyo Rose was an enemy who tried to convince American GIs to give up, right? Wasn't she that chick? Maybe I'll be that guy. Put me out of Russia. Hey, you idiots, what the fuck you doing? God damn it, go back to Russia. There's pierogies there. Leave Ukraine alone. They're fucking cool. They're nice guys. Because that's the whole deal. There's a million nice people in Ukraine. There's a million nice people in Russia. Because there's people in Russia who are like, why are we doing this? This is fucking stupid. Russia is not at war with Ukraine. Vladimir Putin is at war with whatever the fuck he wants to be at war with. It's not, he invaded 6 different ways and he fucking swooped into the country. And then I was like, when I saw that map, I was like, holy fuck. They're just kidding. Because we remember the United States with shock and awe and all that bullshit. Well, I'm like, well, man, Russia really means it. They came in 6 different fucking ways and attacked these different cities and these ports. And I go, they're going to blow these fuckers off the map and isolate the shit out of them and install a puppet government and run this joint like instantly. But then, the first war ever to be fought on TikTok started to unfold before our very eyes. And a conflict that, quite frankly, looked like it was going to be over in hours has now stretched weeks. And Ukraine is in there, and they are fucking fighting. And they are all of them are fucking fighting. And it's, look, man, I don't know if the United States would be ready to Red Dawn these motherfuckers. Now it would, because there's a lot of people with fucking guns here who can't wait for somebody to invade us. They're so thrilled and excited about it. They're so ready. They're probably shooting Canadians. They're like, let's fucking kill somebody. They can't wait. Like, that was the one of the best things about the United States geographically is that it is so completely isolated from anyone who would ever want to invade us. Like, you can call 9/11 a launch of a war on our soil, but we didn't have to fight a war on our soil. It was a hit and run move. You know what I mean? There cannot be an invading force because, where are they going to come from? Canada? Those people are all fucking nice, even though they hate us now because of the last 4 fucking years, and I don't blame them because a lot of us hate ourselves. And then Mexico. And again, Mexico has, what do they got? They got their own problems. You know what I mean? They have 4,000 different drug cartels and then 4 resorts that Americans go stay at and eat tacos and think everything's okay. So you hope these people, you would understand that we're never going to get invaded. And I know you're like, well, never say never. Yes, I know. In the year 2114, I'm sure some rogue force from Alaska will cross over and fucking attack Washington, and look what'll happen. And I mean the state of Washington. They're not going to come from Alaska to DC. They got to fight their way across the Dakotas. Nobody wants to fight their way across the Dakotas. The Dakotas, you ever see the census numbers for the Dakotas? I think there's only like 400,000 people in North Dakota. But then if you look at the fine print, they don't count people in North Dakota. They just count guns. North Dakota, South Dakota, they don't count the people. They just count the guns. And then they assume that's a reasonable head count for whatever is going on in the fucking state. Wyoming, Montana, Idaho, it's just wide open spaces with a bunch of dudes with AR-15s shooting street signs. Texas too, man. I mean, this whole fucking, this country is so fucking juiced and just has a fucking dagger between their teeth waiting for anybody to show their fucking face over the border. And in reality, it's not going to fucking happen. Nobody's invading us. But Ukraine gets invaded, and immediately the whole thing, like I said, becomes an amateur Red Dawn situation. You see it. There's a Molotov cocktail assembly line. You ever see? And again, that's another thing. This war, like I said, it's the TikTok war. It's being fought on TikTok, being fought on Twitter, being fought on Instagram, where we're getting videos of, first we're getting videos of bombings, which is, terrible and terrifying. And we're seeing marching Russian columns, but then we're also seeing the Ukraine victories. We're seeing Ukraine stealing fucking mortar fire, equipment. We're seeing, there's some blonde girl on TikTok who stole a Russian armored vehicle and showed people how to drive it. So then people can go watch that video. If they see other armored vehicles, they can steal them and they know how to goddamn drive them. It's just, it's a different world over there, man. Again, over here, everybody, we have state fairs and we eat deep fried candy bars. Over there, it's a fucking zoo. Like, and Russia is learning that lesson right now. They showed moms on buses with guns ready to defend their fucking country. The Klitschkos, who are multimillionaires, they're boxing multimillionaires, and they said, fuck it, we're staying. One of them's a mayor, and the other one's just like, fuck it, let's do it. Their fucking president's a comedian, but he's 44 years old, so to him, like, he's always lived in a world that's he's never seen, essentially, like, East Germany and West Germany. He never had to deal with that. He grew up in a world where Europe was what it is now, and now with Putin is essentially trying to he's putting the band back together, is what he's trying to do. He's trying to get the Russian Empire back together. And I don't know if it's because he's crazy or what the fuck he's doing. And this Zelensky guy, who is fucking amazing, whenever you see him on TV or any clip, you're just like, damn, that fucking guy. And again, by the way, they hired a comedian and we hired a game show host. And you would think, you're like, well, 6 of one, half a dozen of the other. And then you see their comedian, running through the streets with a fucking flak jacket on, avoiding being killed. I guess there's a report that came out. They tried to kill him 4 different times. Is that what I heard? Or 3 different times? I think it was 3 different times. They've had assassination attempts on Zelensky, and he's dodged them in the past week. And it makes me laugh hearing it because look, that could all be bullshit, and it could just be propaganda that they put out there to try to inspire people. But at the same time, I'm enjoying the idea of Zelensky being chased around like the old woman in Fish Called Wanda, with Michael Palin trying to constantly kill her and only killing her dogs every time he gets a shot. He drops a safe on her dog. He shoots her dog. Her dog gets hit by a car, like all that crazy shit. Zelensky's doing that, and the fucking Russians are just like Michael Palin stepping on their dick and fucking this whole thing up. But then you read because it's easy to laugh at, but then you read the story and they're like, yeah, there's teams of Chechen assassins looking for Zelensky 24 hours a day in Ukraine. And there's over 400 guys and they're divided into whatever number of teams. And they said all it takes is one of them to get lucky and then we can all go home. Their whole fucking existence is to hunt down Zelensky and kill him. I mean, it's so odd to watch it unfold and think to yourself, well, this is a television show, but it's not. People are dying. You're seeing people die. You see, there was a video of a 6-year-old girl who died, and then her parents. It's brutal. But the fight that Ukraine has put up so far, 2 weeks into it or whatever, is astonishing. And I think what this does is it tells you never, Russia is Russia, but never go to war with a country that has a K in its name. Honestly, those fucking people, these guys will sit in trenches and eat spiders for years before they surrender to you motherfuckers. They just don't care. They got the Klitschko's out there. They got fucking MMA guys. They got, the president's a comedian, but he doesn't fucking care. He's dodging people. Never go to war with a country that has a cave that might have a pope's bones in it. All right. Because they have history you can't believe. These dudes, they were in the 1300s. They were making fucking crowns and shit. You watched Bram Stoker's Dracula from fucking Francis Ford Coppola. I think, honestly, Vlad the Impaler may have made his way through Ukraine a couple of times. And then that fucking story with the bleeding Jesus statue. Like, don't fucking fight these guys. And Russia's learning that now. Like I said, they got fucking moms on buses with guns. They're making fucking Russian soldiers call their moms. Have you seen that? Dudes, they catch these Russian dudes. And then they give them food. They're not killing them because, again, like I just said, Ukraine doesn't want to be at war. And Ukraine has no beef with Russian soldiers. It's Putin and the fucking government. That's who's sending these fucking guys in. So they catch these guys or their guys are surrendering or who knows what the fuck is happening. Because another thing, I will tell you this. I mentioned it's a war fought on TikTok, a war fought on Twitter. We're seeing clips. We're seeing things. And you can't, and I hate to take this tack, but I have to, and I have to say it. I don't believe any of the things I hear about this war to a certain extent. I mean, I'll see videos with my own eyes, but then you'll hear later, they're like, oh no, this was a video from a Russian war exercise in 1997. You know what I mean? Like, the propaganda is thick. The ghost of Kiev was a pilot who was supposedly knocking people down, and even these people stealing the armored cars. Like, I don't know. I'm not there. I can't know what's true and what isn't true. Now, does it mean that I'm like, well, none of this is happening? Because also you're hearing this, like all the Russian propaganda has the Russian citizens denying that anything's going, because the first thing Russians said was they were removing Nazis from Ukraine. Did you hear about that? Russian, why am I saying, do you hear about that? Yes, you heard it. If you didn't, who cares? I'm telling you now. Russian propaganda is being beamed on the television sets, and they said this was the denazification of the Ukraine, and they're removing Nazis from the country, and so this is a noble effort. And I heard that, and I laughed, because in my brain, I'm like, man, there's always got to be a Hitler. I mean, that dude, he truly cemented himself as the worst of the worst, because every time there's an argument here, Trump is Hitler, or this guy's Hitler, or oh my God, these guys are Hitler. Everybody's got to be fucking Hitler. And now even the Russians are like, yeah, no, the Ukrainians are Hitler, man. We totally got to get the Nazis out of there. Now, I will tell you this. I've read some stories and seen some videos that there are Nazis in Ukraine. All right. I do know this. Don't write me a note and go, well, did you know? Yes, I've heard it and seen it. And they're not the good guys. I don't know who's the good guys. As far as I know, the moms with the guns on the buses are good guys. The fucking Klitschko's are good guys. I don't know. These people reaching out and trying to help and do whatever they can. Those are the good guys, man. Zelensky seems like a good guy, but what the fuck do I know? We don't know. But you pick a side. You pick a fucking side. Because otherwise you're just the same people going, well, when the U.S. was bombing Yemen, nobody cared. Hey, I fucking cared. I don't want the U.S. bombing anybody. I don't want anybody bombing anybody. I want everybody to, you know what I want? I want everybody to sit in their house and eat the same pasta I'm eating and watch Tick, Tick, Boom. That's it. Just fucking relax. Because all of it is so fucking stupid. What is this for? Money? Property? Legacy? Who fucking cares about any of it? No person should ever die in the name of property or legacy. It's just fucking stupid. And again, I wish I was more eloquent. I wish I could give you words that meant more. I wish I could say something other than it's stupid, but this is what it strikes me as. And look, I find myself looking at the world and thinking it's stupid these days. You know, and I've talked about this many times. I think we're eating ourselves. I think with, you know, people telling me that some podcasters need to be banned and their music needs to be cut off and get these guys off Twitter and take these guys off Spotify and shit like that. And I don't think I talked about it. You know, Rogan, when they were saying Joe Rogan should be taken off Spotify, no, he shouldn't be. No, you can't blame Joe Rogan for the idiots who listen to him and put into action the things that he talks about, because he's just a dude talking, just like I'm just a dude talking. And if you had a show, you would be a dude talking. When I was a kid, they tried to ban fucking heavy metal music. And then they tried to ban rap music because they said the messages were making people do things. And like, you know, fuck that, man. Now, at some point, there needs to be some personal responsibility for the ass fucks who are doing this dumb shit. And then you're like, oh, Joe Rogan's giving disinformation about medical stuff. Yeah, you're right. There's no doubt. He was fucking stupid about the things he was saying. I don't agree with the things he said. But at the same time, if you're out there scheduling the treatment of your deadly disease around what the fuck the guy from Fear Factor had to say, then maybe you deserve to be staring up at the sky from a box. You know, it's like watching some fucking old movie and going, oh yeah, no, that's how you take care of fucking pleurisy. And then you drink some fucking a tincture of quinine and then you wind up dying. And who the fuck knows? Things change, moves, just, you can't. There's a lot of talk about, you know, the art from the artist. And people want to ban comedians. They want to ban people who say things. And I just think that is an incredibly slippery slope and a dumb place to go when you're trying to fucking drop the hammer on people. Because, like, again, I can play it both ways, and you'll probably be like, oh, well, look at him. He's walking a tightrope. No, I'm not really. You know, I don't think you should ever believe anything Joe Rogan says about fucking medicine. Who the fuck cares? I don't get it. It's a fucking show. And if you believe it, you're you know, kind of a scramble head to a certain extent. But at the same time, he can put that out there and let people fucking parse it. Right? Am I wrong? I guess I'm wrong because I keep hearing that I'm wrong, but who knows? But the same thing with the propaganda for this war, because I don't know what to believe. Like I said, I know the Russians are saying they're removing Nazis, and I'm like, well, I don't fucking get that. But at the same time, I hear there are Nazis in the Ukraine, and I'm like, oh, well, that kind of sucks. But you know what? There's fucking Nazis here in fucking Alabama. Let's remove them too. You know, Nazis are never a good thing. If we can all agree on that, if that would be the common denominator we could all land on, that would be fucking perfect. Let's go ahead and get them out, man. I don't understand anybody dying in the name of fucking legacy or property. It's just dumb. And also the stuff coming up around it is dumb. There's no doubt to me. They you know, there's people now dumping vodka out in a protest against Russia, and it's just performative garbage. You know, what are you doing? You're banning Russian dressing? Who's that hurting? Who the fuck do you think that's hurting? Oh, you're taking all Rush albums off the shelf because they're close? What the fuck? And yet the country's still buying Russian oil. You know, I will tell you this, all of it is above my pay grade. I'm a dude who has his own fucking problems with getting his own work done. So I see these people banning shit and going, oh, well, we're with, there's this new one going around where people they're paying for apartments, for Airbnb apartments for Ukrainians, which is, man, that's a fucking cool idea. That is super cool. If that's really what's happening. Or let's look at it this way. Here in America, when COVID hit, I'll talk specifically about California. In California, when COVID hit, California went, you know what? We want to help people. So without any questions asked, everybody can file for unemployment, and we'll do what we can to go ahead and fill the requests, and then we'll figure it out as we go along. But right now, the most important thing is getting money to people and helping them. And certain bad actors went, oh, that's nice of you. And then they started to fake a ton of like unemployment claims, and they fucking filed for business loans when they didn't have businesses. And I think the number I saw was like, I think it was like $600 million in phony claims were paid out. I mean, guys on death row, people in jail, people with multiple IDs were getting multiple checks. And because, as I said, everybody always finds an angle. Everybody will always find, you introduce something new that seems cool and fun, and instantly it will be corrupted in a way where people who are not concerned with helping others will prey on whatever good intentions were out there, and they will go ahead and enrich themselves at the expense of a government or somebody else. And no, I know there's a lot of people who are like, well, you know, the government could afford it. They had a lot of money and they should fucking send it out. Yeah, you're right. You're right. I hear you, man. I'm not rooting for the government, but there was a lot of fraud. A lot of, like I said, prisoners and dead guys got a lot of unemployment checks and shit like that. And it just happened. So now when I hear about this thing in Ukraine, where they're like, yeah, man, we'll totally buy Airbnbs for these people, and it's great. People can go stay there and get out of the subway tunnels. And yeah, I mean, ostensibly that's a good plan. Or you're just giving money to people in Ukraine, and you don't know who the fuck they are. Because like I just said, guess what? There's Nazis in Ukraine, and also there's Russians in Ukraine. And who knows if Russia, whom we know has a very intense online presence and is involved in all sorts of cyber war and optics. What if they've created all of these Ukrainian fucking Airbnb postings and then you're sending them money? You know what I mean? Like, it's because people feel like they want to help, but they don't know what to do. And then you can wind up, and it's dangerous because then you can wind up not doing anything. And I, you know, like I find myself, I'm like, I don't know what the fuck to do. I don't know who to send money to or who's real or who isn't. I don't know where to send it or what to do. I don't know, man. I got no fucking idea. But when I hear stuff like people are sending, and again, anything that goes around like wildfire in a day, you just kind of go, all right, because it all might start out with good intentions. It may truly be Ukrainians getting money from Airbnbs and doing the best they can to help people. But you're not telling me that bad actors aren't going to come in here and fucking spin it around and try to find a way to profit off of this and take the money. And I mean, Airbnb is fucking shady as it is. You know, I went and stayed at a place in New York and I was with my ex, and the guy looked right at her and he goes, you can walk around naked if you want. Oh, how many cameras are in this fucking joint, pal? You know what I mean? There's no laws with that sort of thing. It's Wild fucking West. Airbnb is Wild West. Fucking Uber and Lyft and all those motherfuckers. Anybody can do anything that they fucking want. And so when I hear these people, and like I said, the dumb people that are just going, you know, oh yeah, we're never going to watch Russian TV shows again, or they banned Russian television, and now they're banning them from the Olympics, but not really. And then they're banning they're banning them from the Olympics, but now they can compete independently. And then, oh yeah, we're also blocking them from like Russian Federation Cups and soccer. But also if they kind of make a team that's like hey, we're not the Russians anymore team, we can go ahead and compete. It's all nonsense and garbage, and it's so fucking ridiculous. And who the fuck knows, man? And then you see every day it's getting worse. Because again, like I said, Ukraine is fighting, and they're fighting their fucking balls off. But they're also appealing to the world. They're like, man, we need a no-fly zone. We absolutely need a no-fly zone. Between NATO and the United States, get over here and enforce a no-fly zone. And, you know, I understand that. And that makes complete sense. And a no-fly zone would be fucking perfect. But at the same time, when you hear it, you're just like, all right, well, that means the U.S. is now directly involved in the conflict. And again, we're the world's policemen. We used to be able to take care of that kind of shit. But I think another thing that COVID did, as I've talked about before on here, was it exposed the fact that everything in this country, if not the world, is a house of cards. They always talk about people living check to check. And then we found out that businesses were working check to check. Restaurants are check to check. You know, the restaurants go 3 weeks with less than anticipated fucking customer churn, and they wind up going under. And they're looking to get business loans, and then those business loans don't work. And then also, it turns out, as you see, there are lawsuits because some businesses took the business loans, and then they also had already closed the restaurants. They didn't have to pay anybody. It's just, there's so much fucking grift and fraud out there. You don't know what the fuck to believe. You don't know what's real. And so, you know, Ukraine's like, we need a no-fly zone. And you're like, all right, well, yeah, that makes sense. And if the U.S. goes ahead and gets involved in that, well, now the U.S. is directly involved in the conflict. And just say in enforcing the no-fly zone, a United States pilot shoots down a Russian pilot. Well, guess what? Now we are at war with them. Not that we're not at war with them already, technically, cybernetically, however the fuck you want to call it. But if we have a no-fly zone over there and we have a direct dogfight, or we drop a bomb on them, or we shoot a fucking military column that's shooting fucking, even if you're just self-defending, even if the Russians try to shoot down a U.S. jet and the U.S. tries to fight back, and then they wind up killing a military battalion, whatever the fuck, well, now you're at war. Now you're officially at war with these fucking guys. And am I saying we should or shouldn't do that? I don't fucking know. I just know that we shouldn't be, and nobody should be at war with anybody, ever. And I know that's a ridiculous hippie pacifist fuck you way to be, but that just seems the right thing to me. Everybody should try to fucking coexist and be fine. Shouldn't everybody be nice to one another? Shouldn't everybody be putting daisies in the barrels of guns and not worrying about taking a lead shot to the fucking forehead? Yes. So, I mean, I don't know about a no-fly zone. I mean, yes, ostensibly you'd go there and protect Ukrainian citizens, but that is all of a sudden opening the conflict up in a way that I would have never anticipated it opening up before. And also another thing, I read these stories and they're like, the U.S. has to get involved. The U.S. has to do this. The U.S. needs to do that. Well, NATO could also kind of do something right now. What if NATO sent in some fucking humanity and relief and NATO came in, because it is Europe. So what if the other European countries like Germany and France and all of the Belgium, the aforementioned Belgium, and I know they're doing sanctions. So they're that's another thing. They're taking jets and yachts away from Russian billionaires, hoping the billionaires will call Putin and go, "Hey man, what the fuck are you doing? I was getting tons of fucking Turkish pussy on my fucking yacht, and now these guys stole it. So now I got to go to my smaller yacht. You think I want to spend fucking weekends on my smaller yacht, you dick? No." I didn't send 8,000 people to the gulag for you last year to spend weekends on my smaller yacht. And they're hoping there'll be some sort of internal pressure, but everything we've been told about Russia, because this is another thing too. We've been told that Russia is, jut-jawed and you can't ever get in their way and they're so tough and they're fucking monolithic and mean and all these terrible things. And then I'm reading these stories of like their military columns have cheap tires, so they're breaking down. And there was literally videos of them with their K rations, like the Russian K rations are from 2015. And in your brain, you're like, because now everybody's saying, oh, well, Russia had enough for like a first wave of warfare, and they thought that Ukraine would surrender, and then they would have taken over by now, and they wouldn't have to pour any more money into the war machine. Well, the fact that now they got to keep pouring money in as they keep bombing, and Ukraine is fighting back and holding them off, is exposing that there's this real problem with money and cash flow in Russia. So I guess the sanctions, people are hoping that they'll bog down and then leave their tanks there like they did in fucking Afghanistan 1 billion years ago. I don't fucking know, dude. I don't know. But reading all this stuff, it floods your brain because you're like, Jesus. I actually Googled, I'm not joking. I Googled, can Russian missiles hit Los Angeles? Because Putin made a mention of, he didn't say the words nuclear firestorm, but he certainly danced around them by saying there will be, and he did the same shit Trump used to do. There will be consequences unholy that you've never dreamed of before. And they read that to mean nuclear. And when Trump said it, everybody's like, this guy's a fucking idiot. When Putin says it, everybody goes, oh shit, this guy's crazy. Because that's the thing. Even Trump knew nuclear bullshit was bad for the hotel business. You know what I mean? He could talk a bunch of shit. People used to worry about him going nuclear, but he was a fuckhead, not a psychopath. So he knew that he still wanted people to go to the fucking, Trump Abu Dhabi or whatever the fuck. So he wasn't going to bomb anybody. But Putin there are a lot of people speculating that he's 70 now and he might be sick. So he's trying to build a legacy by putting back the Russian Empire. And also there are people who think he's just like nuts. And again, but also that could be propaganda. He could be a genius. He could be super smart. I don't know. Maybe some guy from Ukraine fucking stepped on his foot. I don't fucking know. All I know is war is stupid, and people are stupid. And I can't remember the lyrics right now, but you think I would have looked that up. But that would have meant I knew what I was going to fucking talk about. I don't know, man. I can't figure it out. And then one of the first things Russia did was they took back Chernobyl, which is in Ukraine. They took, so now they own that or whatever. And then they were fucking bombing another nuclear plant. There was a nuclear reactor and fucking Russia's bombing it. And there's videos of it. And I'm like, does nobody in Russia have HBO? Because I watched a show a couple years ago that very explicitly demonstrated why you shouldn't do anything to fuck with a nuclear plant. And quite frankly, it was a lot of guys with mustaches who made a lot of fucking mistakes. And then those mustaches then fell out all over the hospital room floor as their skins sloughed off like they were like the top of a fucking runny egg. And now you're fucking launching bombs at a goddamn nuclear plant? What is your problem? And that's why people then just go, oh man, Putin's fucking insane. He doesn't give a fuck. But then you would think the rest of Europe would go, yeah, well, we should do something about this, right? If he's going to bomb a fucking, because again, they're the ones who are going to get all the nuclear cloud and shit. Like I said, we're over here chilling with Canada and Mexico going, well, they don't have any nuclear weapons. We're fine. Although maybe they do. Does Canada have nuclear weapons? If they do, you remember those planes in the like 1940s the United States would have with like tiger faces on them or like mean sharks? Like every Canadian nuclear bomb has the word sorry written on it. So it's the last thing you see. You just look up, there's a maple leaf with sorry, EMP, everybody goes down. And by the way, when it comes from Canada, EMP is an electro maple pulse. Oh man, look at me making myself laugh on a podcast. It's like the old days, isn't it? Look at us getting back together, talking before I fucking punched my card. God damn it. I don't know, man. It's just fucking stupid. And it's funny because I want to do that thing where you pull back and I go, well, you know what? I'm only going to worry about me. I'm going to worry about my life. I'm not going to worry about the war and fucking what's going on. Because I've done this before where you can dive in online and fucking scratch your eyes out going, well, fuck, man, all this shit on Twitter and people on Instagram and nobody gets it and they're stupid and this and you drive yourself crazy. And the way I've always said it is like, well, you still got to go mow your lawn. You still got to make pork chops. You still got to get up in the morning and take a fucking shower. You know what I mean? You can't sit here all day and be fucking terrified and worry about it and stuff. But it's hard not to think about it all the time. Like I said, when I Googled, well, can Russian missiles hit Los Angeles? There was never really an answer. Google that exact phrase. Can Russian missiles hit Los Angeles? And there's a story about a bomb they invented in the 60s called like the mother of all bombs, the Tsar bomb or whatever. And it said it could wipe out Los Angeles with one bomb. Like literally, but I don't know if they decommissioned it or whatever the fuck. But they have more nuclear stuff. They have like 66,000. We have 55,000. And then all these people are warning you. They're like, because I didn't, all I asked was, can Russian missiles reach Los Angeles? And they'd go, well, if you're in New York or Los Angeles, you're not really a strategic target. What they would probably do is they would probably take out Montana and the Dakotas, because that's where we have all of our nuclear shit and a bunch of guns and whatever the fuck, and something else up in Seattle. And I'm like, well, look, if it can reach near around Washington and Seattle, it can probably reach Los Angeles, right? But I did learn also that if there is if a nuclear attack is inbound, because I'm in a big city, I will probably have the luxury of 30 minutes to run for cover or find somewhere to go. And I got to be honest, reading these articles and watching these videos, it just takes me back to being a kid. Duck and cover bullshit under a desk, going into a hall. And we used to have fucking, civil emergency drills in school, and you have to fucking get on your knees and duck and cover. And I used to laugh because I'm like, well, this leaves my spine exposed. So if something fucking lands on my spine, I'm dead. But I guess if something hits you in the head or whatever the fuck, you're dead anyway. And also, it's a nuclear blast, man. We're all going to fucking die. And you almost, everything I've read, every movie I've seen, everything I know about it, and that's very little, but it's what I do know, is that you want to die in the blast. No, but you don't want to be that asshole trying to grow corn 3 weeks later. And realizing that your new crop is cancerous. You know what I mean? So there's always in those movies I don't want to be Jason Robards clawing my way through rubble only to find my wife's apron. I mean, fuck all that, man. Kill me in the initial flash. Like I said in India and Pakistan, look, put my fucking shadow on the wall. I look like Alfred Hitchcock Presents these days. I'm a fucking barrel-shaped dude. That would be fucking grim. Everybody like, this is where Fat Schmitty ate it. You goddamn right, future generations see me fucking flashed onto a wall. But man, you just got to die in the blast. That's it. That's what you got to hope for. I'm like, can Russian missiles reach Los Angeles? Also, when? Also, where should I be? Like, where will it land? Where can I go to maximize this? Although I guess, you know what? I shouldn't even have to Google it, because the film Miracle Mile showed us that Russian missiles can hit Los Angeles. I assume it was Russian missiles. I don't know. I guess they never really said. There was just NORAD on the payphone, and then all of a sudden Anthony Edwards is trying to get Mara Winningham into a helicopter. You know what I mean? So, which, by the way, if you've never seen Miracle Mile, you should check it out. Go watch The Day After. Go watch Testament. Go watch Miracle Mile. Those are all great. Watch Contagion. Just scare the fuck out of yourself for the next week. It's pretty fun. Go ahead and watch these things and go, oh yeah, all these things are almost true again. Don't watch Red Dawn because that's just bullshit. And also you'll be depressed because fucking Swayze's dead, so we can never beat the Russians in a fight. You guys can get me at Mike at MikeSchmidtComedy.com. You guys can be my friend at Facebook.com/the40-year-old-boy. You can follow me at Twitter.com/the40-year-old-boy. I'm also on Instagram at Mike40YOB. I'm on Snapchat at Mike40YOB. And I'm on TikTok at Mike40YOB. Now, have I done anything on TikTok? I have not. Have I always said that I will and I don't? Yes. I never do. Have I said I will? Yes. And I do. I know. I don't. I even went through today and I scrolled today and I looked at, look, I follow Giada De Laurentiis just because I like cooking. And I follow Padma Lakshmi. I'm sure it's just because I like cooking. So I scrolled through and I went, you know what? Because I will tell you this. I've seen some TikToks. Some of them are brilliant and you're like, Jesus fucking Christ. And then I see a lot of things that suck. And I'm like, well, look, I can suck. Why wouldn't I do that? Because in my brain, I'm like, well, what if you think it's good? And then it turns out you suck like these other people. And then I'm gun shy. And then it makes sense to watch Tick, Tick, Boom again. But what I'm telling you is, and again, as I've mentioned, when I don't put out a podcast, I don't engage with any of that bullshit. Now, look, when I'm putting out podcasts, it's not like I'm engaging it all the time, but at least on Facebook, I'll answer some people and stuff like that. I got to get better at all this. Yeah, I'm 13 years into this and I still got to get better at all of it. But the point is, I'm on Instagram, Snapchat, and TikTok at Mike40YOB. And in the past, I've made promises to engage and have not. Talk is fucking cheap. And so I hope you'll follow me on there, and someday you'll be pleasantly surprised by my taking part in all of it. Wouldn't that be great? It sure would. Oftentimes I'll sit here and I'm like, God, what am I doing? I'm doing nothing. You know what? I have a television station and a radio station, and I also have a phone with like 4 sites where I could contact people right fucking now. Why are you claiming to be like alone? You're not really alone. I'm lonely, but I'm never alone. What song is that? I got one step closer to the danger zone. Yeah, it's Foreigner, right? Is that Dirty White Boy? I think it is. Dirty White Boy's fucking fantastic. One time I tweeted, and on Facebook I wrote, look, I'm a gentleman, but if I'm close to, well, no, what was it? I'm a gentleman, but if Foreigner's Dirty White Boy ever comes on, I will spit tobacco juice right in your fucking face. And people were mad. Like, people wrote me and they were like, oh, I can't believe you'd say this. Oh my God. And then 12 other people made jokes. Ha ha, Foreigner. Ha ha, tobacco. Ha ha, look at me. Because that's what it is to be on social media. You know this. I know this. And here I am telling you that I'm all these places where you can follow me, and I will engage at some point. Let's run them down again, shall we? You guys can get me at Mike at MikeSchmidtComedy.com. You can follow me at Twitter.com at Twitter. Wait, all right. No, I said it wrong. You guys can get me at Mike at MikeSchmidtComedy.com. You can follow me. Nope. You can friend me. You can be my friend at Facebook.com/the40-year-old-boy. You can follow me at Twitter.com/the40-year-old-boy. And I'm on Instagram, Snapchat, and TikTok. And the name is Mike40YOB. 40YOB. And eventually I'll put something up on one of those. Won't I? Won't it be great? You want to watch a Snapchat of me? You probably do. God knows don't you want to see me do something for 10 seconds? Hey, Mike, can you be stupid for 10 seconds? You're goddamn right I can. I was just stupid for almost 2 hours. All right. So follow me in all those places. I'm great. A special thanks to our friend KC, he's had a couple of months off. He puts the stuff on YouTube. He's got to be thinking I'm dead at this point. But it's nice of him. And if he wants to put this on YouTube too, I would appreciate it. That'd be great. He might not listen anymore. A lot of you might not listen anymore. In which case, why am I talking to you? Because you're not here hearing this. Our great friend David Hernandez, whom you may know from plenty of other places. Well, I'm here to tell you those places, as a matter of fact. He can be found at Facebook.com/DavidMexHernandez. Why wouldn't you be his friend there? I can think of many reasons why you should and no reasons why you shouldn't. Facebook.com/DavidMexHernandez is where you go and be his friend. And, he's got a Facebook closed group. It's called This Is Dumb, That's Dumb, You're Dumb, I'm Dumb. You can be a part of that. Make that part of your daily breakfast. As I drink water to clear my throat. You want that as part of your daily breakfast with cereal and a grapefruit? You ever see those? Remember those commercials? I feel like I've talked about this. Those old-timey fucking cereal commercials, they were like, part of a balanced breakfast. And it's a bowl of cereal, a stack of toast, and like a fucking orange or a grapefruit. And it's like, dudes, have you ever had milk and grapefruit? Holy fuck. I'd rather stick my dick in a fan. The fuck are you doing to me? That's like if you brush your teeth and have a glass of milk or whatever the fuck. Like, you can't do that shit. That's not that's an imbalanced breakfast. I'm going to tell you right now, any citrus with milk is an imbalanced breakfast. What am I, fucking Laverne? Hey, oh no, that was Pepsi, I guess. Well, Pepsi might work. Pepsi and milk sounds disgusting too. Milk sounds disgusting these days. Nobody wants milk. I use milk for, what do I use milk for? You put it in mac and cheese when you're making mac and cheese. Milk's for recipes, not for drinking. If I wanted to drink milk, I just go blow a fucking cow. I think I'm probably using the wrong part of the cow at that point. But I don't care. But I'm going to call that an imbalanced breakfast if you have citrus and milk. How dare you? I know you're very worried about me getting scurvy. Why wouldn't you be? I don't want to get scurvy either. But at the same fucking time, I think you're out of line. I don't know who am I out of line with? Big Breakfast? Who's out of line? I think it is. I think it's Big Breakfast. There's the Council of Breakfast Elders. You know who it is. Sonny the Cuckoo Bird, Count Chocula, Trix Rabbit, Captain Crunch. They just sit there like a big fucking shiny. It's like in the new Doctor Strange trailer when there's the Council of fucking whatever the fuck, and it's like Professor X and Namor, Submariner, and fucking all these guys and Iron Man, and so I say the Council of Breakfast Elders. Who did I say was there? Sonny the Cuckoo Bird, and Count Chocula. Why is Count Chocula the guy? Wouldn't the monsters would fight about that forever, wouldn't they? Well, Boo Berry's like he carries no weight, and Frankenberry's fucking he's on the spectrum, right? He's pretty dumb. Count Chocula's smart. He's got it fucking down. So Chocula, it's Chocula, Sonny the Cuckoo Bird. And now you're like, why are there two chocolate guys up there? Hey, you know what? I'm going by personality. You know what? Sonny the Cuckoo Bird is up there to be the fucking muscle. Like good cop, bad cop. Count Chocula's good cop. Bad cop is totally Sonny the Cuckoo Bird because Count Chocula is just like, blah, eat our breakfast. And you're like, fuck you, vampire. And he's like, oh, really? Well, Sonny, do you want to talk to him? He fucking goes Daffy Duck nuts like a fucking psychopath. He's the Luca Brasi of the fucking Council of Breakfast Elders. You don't know what you're going to get with fucking Sonny the Cuckoo Bird. It's right there in his fucking name. Captain Crunch overseeing it, making sure it all gets done. Let's cast the Godfather with fucking cereal guys. All right, Captain Crunch is, no doubt, he's Don Corleone. Captain Crunch is Don Corleone. And, Sonny the Cuckoo Bird he's Sonny because you don't know what the fuck he's gonna do. He's not even Luca Brasi. He's Sonny. Because he's fucking nuts, man. Don't go to a toll booth, Sonny the Cuckoo Bird, because you will not return home safely. And Count Chocula, he could be, I'm going to say he's Tom Hagen. Count Chocula's the consigliere. He's not. He's just going to go ahead and talk to him and everything's fine. Who's Fredo? Boy, who can be fucking Fredo? Is the Trix Rabbit Fredo? He might be. Trix Rabbit is Fredo, because, you know why? Because he's such a fucking sad sack. Boo-hoo, the kids won't give me any fucking cereal. Fuck you, take a boat ride, Trix Rabbit. Bang. Hear it echo into the night, and you're not coming back. And then we need a Michael. We need a Michael from the cereal guys. Who could it be? We got Fred and Barney and Fruity Pebbles. You know what? Toucan Sam. Toucan Sam is Michael Corleone. Captain Crunch is Don Corleone. And then it's Sonny the Cuckoo Bird, Toucan Sam, and fucking Fredo is the Trix Rabbit. I've just recast the Godfather in serial characters. And look, I recognize that with all of the podcasts in the world, I'm sure I'm not the first guy to come up with this fucking idea, but at least I came up with it on the fly and I did it in real time. Now, I'll tell you this, I'm actually mad because I wish I'd come up with this before I came on the air so I could actually really cast it in a way where I thought about it. But instead, we're just trying to vomit information into your ear right now. That's what we're doing. That's all I'm trying to do. I'm dancing as fast as I fucking can. Get off my cock. So our friend David Hernandez, you can find him at facebook.com/David Mex Hernandez. He's there now, right now, waiting for you. He's sitting there staring at his screen. You can be his friend again. He's got that closed group. This is dumb. That's dumb. You're dumb. I'm dumb. You can join that group. And by the way, you can hire him to draw stuff or paint stuff for you. He's an unbelievably talented artist. What you're going to want to do is become his friend first at Facebook, facebook.com/David Mex Hernandez. And then you're going to want to go into his photos because he has all of his paintings lined up and grouped into different albums, and you can check them out, see what's been sold, what hasn't been sold, see what's available, and he's constantly creating new work. So you'll always be able to see that. And also, I'll tell you this, you can reach out to him if there's something specific you want him to do, he'll happily do it. He's not one of those guys who's going to be like, oh, sorry, I couldn't possibly. He's like, no, if you're paying, he's painting. So reach out to the guy, and if there's something special you want, paintings of your pets, painting of you, a Facebook caricature of yourself for your picture, paintings of your family, he can do it, and he will. But first, what you want to do is see the kind of work that he does. Become his friend at facebook.com/David Mex Hernandez. And you'll go through and look at all the pictures there. And I'll tell you this, the man has a podcast as well. What? Yes. He has a podcast. It's available right now. You can check it out. It is called the Phlegmcat Podcast. It's available on Spotify. It's available in the Apple Podcast space, whatever they're calling that these days. Wherever you find your finer podcasts, wherever they're given away for free, trolled out like so much chum into the ocean trying to draw a big shark to bite their boat, you will find that podcast being thrown out of a blood bucket. It's out there waiting for you, the Phlegmcat Podcast, and it's Max, and he's doing amazing things. He's what is he doing? What is he doing? He does plenty of songs. He does all sorts of different voices. He has all sorts of different characters who join him. I'll tell you this, a couple of weeks ago, a character named Mike Schmidt joined him. What? Yes, I was home in Chicago, which I'll tell you about next time. And he was kind enough to have me on his show, and it went very well. We laughed and laughed. So you can download that. And also he told another tale about me the following week, which had some audio about me, I believe. Might have been audio of me in a state you don't often hear me in. So go ahead and check those out and just subscribe. I don't know why I'm telling you, because again, these are in the past and I know you've already heard them. And by the way, today is Saturday, March 5th. It's Mex's birthday as I go ahead and say this. So let me say, happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, Mr. Podcast Artist President. Happy birthday to you. Boop, boopy doo. Oh, I wish you could see what the blue lines look like on Audacity for that song. All right, so happy birthday to Max. Go ahead and write him a note if you're listening to this today. If you're not, whatever. But again, find him to get him to do artwork for you. Go check out the artwork he's already done, and check out the closed group. This is dumb, that's dumb, you're dumb, I'm dumb. And check out the podcast, the Phlegmcast Podcast. It's available, and it's by the way, it's two words: Phlegm, P-H-L-E-G-M, Cat, C-A-T. Don't smash them together. We don't want a cat covered in phlegm. But if you call it the Phlegmcat Podcast, go ahead and write him a note and listen to the show, and you will find him and give him feedback and leave reviews in the iTunes, please, talking about how great he is. He'd appreciate it, and so would I. And thank you for listening to our buddy. He's the best.
If I've learned anything after years of fine print contracts and getting ripped off by big wireless providers, it's that there's always a catch. That's not the case with Mint Mobile. Their premium wireless service includes unlimited talk, text, and high-speed data on the nation's largest 5G network, all with plans that start at just $15 a month. How do they do it? By offering wireless services completely online without retail and huge overhead costs. It's their secret sauce. You can use your own phone with any Mint Mobile plan, plus keep your same phone number and all your contacts. With Mint Mobile, choose the amount of monthly data that's right for you and stop paying for data that you never use. Switch to Mint Mobile today. Cut your wireless bill to just $15 a month and get your new plan shipped to your door free by going to mintmobile.com/easy. That's mintmobile.com/easy. Get premium wireless service for just $15 a month at mintmobile.com/easy.
Please allow me to introduce myself. I'm a man, yet still a boy. I've done a show for 4 long years, so many a fan can enjoy. I was around when Eric B. stuck a microphone in my hand. Then killing you is the nature of my game. Stuck around the opposite when I saw my plan just couldn't fail. Killed Rocky, then grabbed Nicholson as I screamed out, "Fruit cocktail!" I lost that race, couldn't keep the pace. Sabrina from Canada put me in my place. Pleased to meet you. Hope I don't offend. But who's confusing you is Vinny's choosy friend.
These last days, doing Shakespeare plays, punched the GNR, stole Godzuki's car. He shouted out, "Who can afford 6G?" When after all, it was young Randy. Let him please chaperone the kids, 'cause New York can be so rude. He'll order way too much to eat and get mad at your choices in food. He's pleased to meet you. Hope you give a damn.
Hope you give. Oh, fuck, did I miss it?
Now he'll impress you with some facts about Shazam.
Solomon, Hercules, Achilles, Zeus, Anthony Hopkins.
He had a taste for kielbasa, and it was time for big Tony to reign. Dropped the stool, looked on the block party. Frankie Muniz screamed in pain. Wandered about with his dad passed out. On a Father's Day, he could do without. Pleased to meet you. He knows you don't care.
Nobody cares. Nobody cares.
Why he's bothering you with the status of his hair.
Bald.
You took a vote. Who could wax your scroll? Be it dude or chick. Who's gonna hold your dick? You shouted out with instant energy. Let's watch the fall of that baby. Let him try to excuse himself. It's not his intent to shock. Had his junk grabbed at Comiskey Park. Saw that guy rub speed stick on his cock. Pleased to meet you. Hopes to be a star.
Now you can all take a bite of my purple rock, Prince.
By the way, do you wanna buy a used guitar?
Only used twice. Once by a dead girl and once by Mex right here. Guitar.
Pleased to meet you. Would he be depraved
Like fucking a snake or eating a monkey.
if he just admits that he wonders if you shaved? Just as every joke is a heckler and all the praise complaints.
You just call me the 40-year-old boy, 'cause I'm in need of some restraint. So if you meet me, have some courtesy.
Have some sympathy and some taste. And don't you dare ask him for a ride.
Or I'll lay your soul to waste. Yeah!
Pleased to meet you. Now you know his name.
Sexual chocolate! Sexual chocolate!
But what's buzzing you is the nature of his fame.
magic that happens when you get together in a Vrbo vacation home. It's the magic of spilled drinks and twirling hugs. It's inside jokes and loud shower singing and life advice and big sister real talk and laughing till you can't breathe. It's the feeling of relief, because no matter who you are, there's nothing like spending time with the people you love. Vrbo, a place for together. Download the app to find yours.
Today, there's a new way to look at security, not just as a cause for concern, but as an opportunity to better your business. With a living security solution from Trellix, you can face your future with confidence. Threats are evolving, but so is your company. Incidents are on the rise, but your organization can rise above them. Risk management is growing more complex, but your business has what it takes to overcome complexity. Bring your security to life with Trellix.
Plugs, you say? Well, I've got them. I've got a plethora of plugs right now waiting for you. I know you're thinking to yourself, how the fuck could you possibly have any plugs? Man, you haven't been here in so long. Well, that's what I've been doing. I've been stockpiling plugs. You know, you think I sit here and think about the content of the show. No, sir. No, ma'am. No, madam. No, pal. Couldn't think of a better word for sir. I tell you, I think of none of that. But I think of the plugs. I think merely and only of the plugs that are coming at the end of the show. Before all of this, that's just gravy. This is the meat of the matter. This is the meat in your mouth. Don't get caught with the meat in your mouth. This is the patter. This is me giving you the guts of the show. The show is the show. Whatever happens, happens. But this right here, please rest assured that everything I'm going to tell you now is very important. First and foremost of that is we have sponsors. What? Yeah. Inexplicably, we still have a sponsor for this show. I don't know whether he's going to leave us in the lurch. He may leave us and say, I could not care less about you and your nonsense. He could do any of those things, but he hasn't so far. He is the lovely and talented Fearful Jesuit, and he runs the Paranoid Strain podcast, which you can get in all of your finer podcast houses. A pox upon your podcast house, sir. May none of your cords fit your dongles. May none of your microphones record your voice. But not to our friend Paranoid Strain. I don't wish that upon him. I wish that on all of my competitors. I have what is it? I have a what in me, Henry? I don't wish anyone else to succeed. I have a competition in me, Henry. I wish no one else to succeed. That's me. I'm the Daniel Plainview of podcasters. Our great friend, and by great, I mean a guy who has texted me to see if I'm okay, and I never answer him, and he continues to text me, and then he finally stopped. I think I wrung all of the empathy and concern out of our friend, Fearful Jesuit, which is nothing to be proud of. When you have somebody in your corner, when you have somebody willing to go ahead and check on you and make sure you're okay and give you periodic pep talks and reach out and tell you good things, you should cultivate that. But I have not, and I regret it. So I think I've lost the man, but I haven't lost his sponsorship, at least not yet. He has not officially pulled out. So let's do this. I'll tell you, there's 2 current shows on right now. And also, boy, I'll tell you what, if he hadn't cut me loose before now, he might now, because I haven't had time to listen to his new show. And I know you're thinking to yourself, you haven't had time. You just told us you sat and stared at a wall for 11 hours yesterday. You're right. And but also, I made listening to his show part of the homework. I'm so dumb. Please don't listen to me ever, unless it's me telling you to listen to the Paranoid Strain podcast, because then I know what I'm doing. Then I can tell you flat out, right to your face, right in your old schnozola. I can tell you that is the truth. You should be listening to that, because there's myriad shows better than mine out there. I know this. You know this. We all know this. Now, do they all bring you the kind of the level of of falling apart that you hear on my show? Probably not. And also, I know a lot of you guys are pot committed at this point. You're like, we listened to this fucking idiot for 13 years. We got to see how this fucking shit ends. And I know that. I do understand it. Right now, I can tell you how it ends. It ends with me plugging the Paranoid Strain podcast. Hold on, yawning. Whew, sorry, guys. It's early in the morning on Saturday, March 5th, which is also David Hernandez's birthday. Anyway, our friend Fearful Jesuit, who has reached out to me on occasion and seen if I was okay, and then he has stopped abruptly, and I do not blame him, because, again, I don't answer him because I feel embarrassed to answer him. But I will plug his podcast because it is amazing. Now, I have not listened to the most recent episode, but I will listen to it very soon, and then I'll talk to you about it on my next broadcast When will that be, you're wondering? As am I. No, we're doing our best to be up and running, is what I'm going to say to you. In 2 weeks, I have to go out of town, but this week I'm in town. Here's another thing I considered. I was like, what if I started March with a bang and I just did like a half-hour show every day? What if I put out a half hour of nonsense every single day? Would you listen? Probably not, but yet it would be there sitting there waiting for you. I don't know if anybody would like that. The only way to know that is by doing it. Because I'll tell you what, I know people on Facebook, and it drives me out of my fucking skull. They're quote-unquote entertainers, in which, I mean, they are, they're trying. Aren't we all struggling? Climbing up that wall like the zombies in World War Z, trying to bite somebody. But these are people who are trying, sort of, ostensibly, and what they'll do is they'll always go, I'll tell you what, I have a great idea for a show. Would you guys listen if I did this? And what they're trying to get is a lot of people jerking them off and going, yeah, you're awesome. Yeah, you're great. Yeah, man, I'd always listen to you. When in reality, people fucking lie. Like, unless you put out a show, you'll never know how many people you got fucking listening to you. You'll never be able to fucking get a true read on it until you put it out there and you see the goddamn numbers. And by the way, I'm not a guy who looks at the fucking numbers. I never cared. I've mentioned this before. I would come in and Lily would go, hey man, you've got listeners in Denmark. And I'm like, that's fucking cool. Whatever. I wasn't trying to get Pepsi on board. There were no sponsors who were coming in up to my door and knocking on my window pane. But then our great friend Fearful Jesuit stepped up and said, listeners in Denmark, I gotta be on the ground floor of this fucking express. And he became that guy, and I appreciate him for it. But I don't, whatever. I want people to fucking listen, and that'd be great. But who knows? Anyway, our great friend, Fearful Jesuit, he doesn't have to check. That's another thing. He sponsors me, but he's even more popular than me. I just found out our great friend Hannah, who is a listener to this show, she's been a producer on a podcast for a very long time in England, a few years, and now she just got a fucking massive sponsor. And I was like, you know what? It's great. I'm seeing all of my listeners be released into the wild. And the more people who do great things, the better. Because then when I'm doing nothing, maybe they'll hire me to do nothing for them. Wouldn't that be great? Hannah's got an amazing show about darts. It's a Dartcast. I don't know the title of it. I'll give it to you another time because right now, quite frankly, I'm plugging Paranoid Strain. I couldn't possibly plug another podcast in the middle of that. That seems silly. But she's grown by leaps and bounds and worked her fucking ass off, and now she's got a giant sponsor, and I'm like, that's fucking fantastic. Same thing with Paranoid Strain. He's on a podcast network now, man. Who am I? I'm nobody. You know this. And so these are listeners, these are friends, these are people who have gone on to great things, and I'm happy to be affiliated with them at this point. They thought they were, doing something by sponsoring me and getting mentioned by me, when in reality now I should be paying them to sponsor my ass, right? I'm putting out one show a month, worried about war, eating fucking noodles. Anyway, Paranoid Strain, fantastic show, amazing. Right now there's 2 new episodes that are available, but I'm going to tell you about the one from a couple of weeks ago. It was a book report, Illuminatus book report. They took a break from their 400-part Illuminati series to do a book report. And you get a visit from Fearful Blockhead and Mrs. Trombone and a Peanuts tribute. That shows up. What they do is they talk about some books. They talk about a book called The Eye in the Pyramid. They talk about a book called The Golden Apple. And they talk about a book called Leviathan. And you hear from one of the authors of the books. And he, I'll tell you this, Jesuit breaks them down and goes through and describes them. And there is some batshit stuff in these books. And here's the cool thing. Okay, he's telling you about all this stuff. Like he says, first of all, I'll tell you this. Jesuit says, he's like, hey, you guys should probably read these books. And no, sir. No, will not happen. We listen to your fucking show, so we don't have to read these clunkers. How about that, buddy? How about you read this nonsense and you break it down in bite-sized form for all of us so it's easy for us to chew? You know who you are, Fearful Jesuit? You are the mama bird. And you get to chew up all this conspiracy garbage and then spit it down our throats. And we eagerly await on that branch with our beaks open, waiting for sustenance. But please don't ask us to consume it ourselves. You're the middleman. You are the go-to guy. You bring it to us, and that makes us happy. So please, from now on, don't tell us we should read any of these books, because we're not gonna. We want you to read them, so you and your dulcet tones can bring us the information about them. I'm not gonna read The Golden Apple. Who the fuck am I? I'm gonna read Leviathan and The Eye in the Pyramid? I think not, sir. Already The Eye in the Pyramid, I know it's gonna be about money, and I get no interest in reading that. The Golden Apple. Now, I'll tell you what, if you said to me, Mike, you should watch a musical called The Apple from the 80s, I would say yes. Because one night I saw it, and literally at 2 a.m, it came on when I was in Schwabville, or Graveyardville. Jesus Christ. Our friend Pete Schwab was the guy. Who cares? He's been gone 6 years. He was the guy who lived in the building, and he would handle the job thing. So that was why Graveyardville was really, it was called Anotherville. And I had a TV there, and one night in the middle of the night, some musical called The Apple from like 1981 came on, and I couldn't stop staring at it. I'm like, this is fucking awesome. I haven't watched it since, but I really want to. So if you said to me, hey, Mike, you should watch The Apple, it's a musical from the 80s, I'd say yes. But if you're like, hey, Mike, you should read The Golden Apple, it's a bunch of batshit stuff written by a guy from Playboy, I'd be like, is there any nude chicks in it? And you'd be like, nope. But I'd be like, out. I'd say, you know what I'd say? I'd say, you know what? I'll get to The Golden Apple right after I finish The Eye of the Pyramid, which means never. And that'll tell you that I'm definitely not reading Leviathan. So he tells you should read these, and that's fine. They're written by Robert Shea and Robert Anton Wilson, known colloquially as the Two Bobs. Or did I name them that? I don't know, but they are two Bobs, and they are writing these books. They both worked for Playboy, and then in the middle of the night when they would fucking eat mushrooms and stop writing the Playboy Advisor, they would think, let's write a crazy ass book with a bunch of crazy ass shit in it. So they wrote about Hagbard Celine. That's a villain. And there's a computer with called the FUKUP. That's right, it's computer fuck up. You hear about a golden submarine. You hear about the Eschaton. You hear about 4 John Dillingers. Now I have this note. I don't even know. Atlas shrugged. Telemachus sneezed. I don't know what that means, but please, it's very important when you listen to this podcast. I'm sure all will be revealed. You get a Saul Goodman thing happening. It's Steve Miller compliant. You get Gruad Greyface involved in this podcast. I will tell you this also. This made me happier than anything. You know what you hear in this podcast? Gang After Glay. Fucking Bobby Burns makes an appearance in this son of a bitch. That's a thing I remember that since sophomore English. Gang Aft Agley. It was it's like a poem about a bug or some shit. And I mean, I remember it. Robert Burns was the writer, and Bobby fucking Burns brings it out, and Fearful Jesuit brings it right to you, baby. Gang, I think he says Gang Aft Agley because he knows how to speak fucking Celtic or whatever. I'm just like Gang Aft Agley because it's still sophomore me. But good to hear Bobby Burns involved. Now I'll tell you, here's some of the plot of the book. The American Medical Association, and yes, the American Medical Association wants to kill Bavarian kids in order to bring Nazis back from the dead. Now, do you remember earlier in the show when I told you there's got to be a Hitler? There's always got to be a Hitler. Well, even in these books, even in The Golden Apple, there's a Hitler. Even in the Leviathan, there's a Hitler. Even in The Eye in the Pyramid, there's a Hitler, because the American Medical Association wants to kill Bavarian kids in order to bring Nazis back from the dead and make Hitler immortal. Oh, and they're a band. No, not the Nazis. The American Medical Association. So it's not really the American Medical Association. It's a band called the American Medical Association. And just hearing Jesuit describe this, you go, man, drugs were great in the 60s and 70s. They were so good. Now, I'm sure they step on all the shit they sell out of dispensaries these days. But that pure, uncut golden apple that used to get back in the... Oh, my Christ almighty. Floating around the Playboy offices. Just 2 guys getting high and staring at Barbie Benton's tits and writing stories about 4 John Dillingers. What the fuck is that? That's fucking great. I think these guys may have killed Dorothy Stratton. I will say that. So again, like I said, there's fundamentalist materialism involved. There's the Fnord we hear about. There was a phrase in here too that was used: stark staring sane. And I loved that phrase that was used in this podcast. But again, the American Medical Association and fucking Hagbard Celine and Hitler's immortal and the Nazi, all of this bullshit. But here's the thing. These guys know it was bullshit. Usually when Jesuit is telling stories, he's talking about these dudes and they all believe this garbage. Like they're all like, oh yeah, they're fucking killing Bavarian kids. They're going to bring Nazis back, and they mean it. They think it's real. And it's refreshing to listen to the show in that it doesn't believe its own bullshit. None of these authors, the 2 Bobs, are like, yeah, no man, we were basically high and wrote a bunch of crazy shit. Like they don't ever pretend that what they were doing was predicting the world or anything like that. And it's so fucking good to hear, because you're like, if anybody really believed this shit, you drag them to a post and hang them in the stocks to be ass fucked by strangers for the next fortnight. Jesus Christ, enough with the garbage. But these guys, they get it done. So, and also I will tell you this, it's very important. This is the, again, book report Illuminatus. I have not listened to the newest one where they resumed the 511 part Illuminati series, but I will get to that as soon as I can. But I will tell you with this particular one, the book report Illuminatus, listen to the end. Very important that you listen to the end of this show, because, and I want to say why, but just listen to the end. It's fun. So that's our great friend, Fearful Jesuit, our great friend who runs the Paranoid Strain podcast, and our great friend who, until this minute, has sponsored the show. Who knows what's to come in the future? But right now, I still consider him, a great friend, and B, a sponsor. And he can decide what of those on that list he would like to continue being. We'll see what happens. Speaking of, sponsors, and he's on a podcast network, like I said, and Hannah has got a big sponsor. Did you know that I'm part of the Misfit Toys Co-op? You didn't? Well, that's okay. I understand that. You know what? I'm not sure if the Misfit Toys Co-op knows I'm still part of the Misfit Toys Co-op, to be honest with you. But I will tell you, I think I am, and I'm part of the shows like Let Me Watch Your Movie with You with Jonah Ray, or The Todd Glass Show with Todd Glass, or No Fun with Jen Kirkman, or Anxiety Bites with Jen Kirkman, or Doug Loves Movies with Doug Benson, or Never Not Funny with the Never Not Funny crew, GEJM, or should it be MEGJ, Megja, or J's got to be first, Jemga, Jem, maybe it's Jem, oh my God, it could be Jem. It's Jimmy and Matt and our friends Garen and Elliot. It's the whole crew, the whole gang over there at Never Not Funny. All of those people are in the Misfit Toys Co-op, and I'm glad that they have me as part of it. It makes me happy to be affiliated, associated, whatever you want to say. If I still am, again, I haven't heard, because I'm not putting out shows. It's not like I'm getting voicemails. I've been invited to the meetings. I don't even know if there are meetings. I got to be honest. So there you go. So the Misfit Toys Co-op, support those shows, please, because, again, like I said, my entire career strategy is hoping these people that I've been associated with for so long will eventually hit it big and bring me with them. Somebody, you need a sidekick. You need a guy just lobbing bombs from the peanut gallery just with one funny line a show. I'm happy to do that. Make me your Stugatz. Why wouldn't you? Hold on, yawning. You can't say Stugatz without yawning. That's the way it works. Folks, did you know that I'm on Cameo? I am. What? You're like, why? Why the fuck are you on Cameo? You don't do podcasts anymore. Well, I'm here to tell you this. Cameo isn't very stringent. They don't check up on your other work. So I haven't heard from the Cameo people in a while. Until recently, you know what? Our great friend, and I'm going to say her name on here, our great friend Sabrina, it was her birthday, so I was booked to do a cameo for her. And this is embarrassing. I will tell you this. I spent the whole cameo basically telling her, hey, look, you're my friend and a listener, and I haven't put out podcasts. So, I feel like I should give you a refund for your money. Because this is nice that, you're in my orbit and you would bring me on board for this. But, and happy birthday, Sabrina. But Jesus Christ, I feel terrible. Like I should give you some sort of cash back. And then she's like, no, man, this is for you. And I love the show. And I'm so happy. Thank you so much for doing this. And I was happy to do it because Sabrina's always supported. She's terrific. But then get this, I am on Facebook, right? And I get a notice from Facebook. They tell you on this date 5 years ago, you did this, whatever the fuck. Well, on her birthday last year, she wrote me about her cameo, and she said, hey, you know what? You're so amazing to do this cameo, and you definitely don't have to give me a refund. Thank you. I was happy to do it. And so then that means last year I was offering to give her money back. And then in my brain, I'm like, wait a minute, do I do this in every cameo? Do I offer to give people their money back in every single cameo? Now, Sabrina, again, like I said, she's been very kind to me, so maybe I only do it with her. But if you're out there and I've offered to refund your cameo, first of all, that offer's expired. And second of all, I got to stop doing that, right? Don't I? I don't know if I think it's endearing, because it's not even fucking endearing. It's just real. When I talk, I just talk, and I say things that I'm feeling and things that are in my brain or in my chest or in my head. My brain is not in my head, by the way, apparently. But so I truly meant, hey, look, man, if you want a refund, because I'm guilty, I feel bad about not doing podcasts. So, if you want me to hook you up, that'd be cool. And but then again, last year, was I doing the same fucking thing? Oh my God, dude, what a failure. Frozen in amber, just doing the same shit over and over. Just stop. And that's why I get in my brain where I'm like, well, nobody wants to hear this. And then I see that I did the same thing last year that I did this year. And I'm like, see, now nobody really wants to hear this at all. But you do. And that's why you want to hire me to do your Cameo, isn't it? And I promise if you hire me to do your Cameo, I won't ask you if you want a refund. I won't try to give your money back, because why am I going to do that? Who wants to give your money back? Not me, certainly. I'm not that guy anymore. No, I've decided I'm keeping all your money. I'm a grubby motherfucker is who I am. So send me the cash, man. That'd be great. I'd appreciate it. Cameo, book me. It's bookcameo.com, or it's an app that you can put on your phone and look me up, and it's $20. I get 15 of them. And, this is funny. I've done a few cameos this year, or, near the end of last year, whatever the fuck. But I never, I don't even check them. I just do the cameos and whatever. And I just assumed Cameo pays me, right? I just assumed Cameo paid me. Because look, I'm not even doing podcasts. You think I'm keeping track of other bullshit? I'm not, because I'm a fucking idiot. So I'm on, and the other day I went on Cameo when I got hired by Sabrina, and it said check balance or whatever, and I checked my balance. They haven't paid me for the last 4 cameos I did. And I looked at it, and I'm like, and it's like, do you want to transfer to your bank? Yeah, motherfucker, I want to transfer to my bank. How long have you been holding interest-free money from me, you dicks? Because you know what? The whole point was I did a Cameo and then you sent it to my bank, I thought. But adding this weird step of like, because, PayPal does that too. Like all these other places, Venmo, they're like, are you sure you don't want to leave it in your Venmo account for easy spending? No, I'm fucking fine. All right, give me my fucking money. Because God knows it's the internet. You guys could go tits up and who fucking knows how long. Literally tomorrow, Venmo could collapse. There could be fucking Fight Club. It could happen. And fucking Tyler Durden could bring all of the credit things to their knees by blowing up their buildings. Who fucking knows? Give me my fucking money. Venmo and Zelle's the only one. Zelle does, Zelle's right in my bank. So who fucking cares? But fucking Venmo and goddamn, like Patreon, you got to fucking mug them too. And I'll get to them in just a second. But they're at least, if you don't ask for it in like 4 days, they send it to you. But fucking Cameo just held it for fucking months or however long it was. I'm like, and it's like, it's not a lot of money, but it's still money that's mine, and I don't understand it. It's bad enough I've given fucking Ticketmaster a fucking interest-free loan for the last 2 years for my Pearl Jam tickets. Yeah, I know. Isn't that ridiculous? It seems ridiculous. Eddie Vedder was here last week. Eddie Vedder played in L.A. at the Forum. And I actually considered, I'm like, I should go to that, because he's been doing this thing where he has special guests show up. So, and fucking Stuart Copeland from The Police showed up. In Seattle, Duff McKagan from Guns N' Roses showed up, and they did Precious by the Pretenders. He did Message in a Bottle with Stuart Copeland. Just fucking awesome. And they have people joining him on stage. And Benmont Tench from the Heartbreakers came out and joined him for some Tom Petty songs here in LA. And in my brain, I was like, I should go to this. And then in my brain, I went, hey, you know what? They've still got like $250 of my dollars tied up in Ticketmaster because they won't cancel their tour from 2020. It's this thing where Pearl Jam keeps the way it works is Ticketmaster will not refund your money unless the band cancels the tour. And as long as the band keeps saying, well, we're going to reschedule the tour, we're going to reschedule the dates, then Ticketmaster keeps your fucking money. And so now they've had literally a 2-year interest-free loan from me for concerts that have never happened and right now still aren't fucking scheduled. And Pearl Jam has played dates. They played some festival dates last year. Eddie's doing this solo tour, and good for them. And I love Pearl Jam, and hey, I'm happy for everything. But it just seems, and I'm in the boat where I'm like, I don't want to be a fan who complains. I don't want to be, one of those guys. And I love the band and I want good. And it's been hard for everybody, hard to schedule the tour and just not only the band members, but the families and the crew members and all of the venues. It's a huge undertaking, whether there's a fucking plague or not. But the fact that the plague is still here and is in play, but you guys are playing shows without refunding the money from the past shows. And look, I'm in the fan club, so it's not, I'll always get a chance to buy the tickets again if they re-announce the shows, but I could use my fucking cash. And also I bought tickets for 2 shows 2 years ago, right? Well, maybe now, because my money is so fucked, maybe I go to only 1 show and I get to get, the other ticket price back. I don't know, but it just seems wrong. And it's a strong word, but it seems wrong that Pearl Jam is playing dates at Eddie's touring when they won't cancel this other tour for 2 years now. And I can't get my money back. And I think it's funny. I said this once before, and somebody was like, well, you got to go to the fan club. If you ask the fan club, they'll give you your money back, and they'll work it out. And it's like, hey, man, look, I don't want to have to chase one of my favorite bands in the world for fucking 2 ticket prices, all right? And ideally, I'd prefer to see the show. So if you could schedule the fucking tour, that'd be great. I don't want to go ahead and fucking bang my shoe on the podium and Khrushchev my tickets back, but at the same fucking time, I'm having a little trouble watching you go out to venues and laugh and glad hand and play shows when you got my fucking money in Ticketmaster's pocket. It's not even the band. The band doesn't have the money. Ticketmaster has the fucking money. And they've put the onus on the band. And it's just, to me, it's a bad look that the band is out playing fucking shows, sparse as they may be, as few and far between as they may be, without rescotching the tour and then fucking making it work again. And I could be a complainer and whatever the fuck, but that's what it seems like to me. It just seems odd. And so that's why I didn't go see Eddie. I was like, well, I'm not going to fucking do this. And also my money's all fucked. But at the same time, I was like, I can't go to this. Why would they still have my fucking money from the other shows. Why wouldn't you even give me the opportunity to go, hey, Ticketmaster, even Ticketmaster just said, hey man, you've got these tickets for the Pearl Jam tour, but why don't you go ahead and get tickets for Eddie Vedder instead? You know what I mean? Then that would be fine. I would have been like, yeah, I could have seen Eddie with one of the tickets and then waited to see Pearl Jam. Even that would have been a solution. But these fucking guys are just like, no, until the band reschedules, there's nothing we can do. And, or cancels, until the band cancels, whatever the fuck. It's a mess. And look, man, again, we just talked about, there's people who live in subway terminals right now. All right. I understand that there's bombs falling all over the fucking world. I get it. But at the same time, you know what? You got to make your pork chops. You got to worry about what the fuck you got to worry about. It just seems silly. It seems silly to me. If you hire me on Cameo, this is the kind of stuff you'll get. I won't talk about your birthday or your aunt or anything, but I'll certainly talk thy ass off about this bullshit. Won't you love that? I think you will. Hey guys, did you know that if you go to MikeSchmidtComedy.com in the upper right-hand corner, there is a PayPal address. There's a little horn boy there. Click on him, and it takes you to PayPal. You can actually send me money if you'd like. And I know this, again, these are naked cash grabs at a time when I haven't been putting out timely shows, and I understand you're furious, and you're all very kind to me, and I'm just throwing it out there because, you know what, man? I'm going to be dead soon. MikeSchmidtComedy.com in the upper right-hand corner, there's a horn boy. Click on it, and you can become a PayPal. If you want to be a monthly subscriber, you can. If you'd like to be an individual subscriber, you can do that. Just send me money. If not a subscriber, just send me look, if you just say to yourself, you know what, I want to pay Mike's taxes. Here's all of the money. That would be great and grand. Wouldn't it be fantastic for me? Maybe you too, but certainly me. So go ahead and do that. You can become a PayPal person, either monthly or just a one-time donation. Why wouldn't you? MikeSchmidtComedy.com, upper right-hand corner, little donate, little horn boy. Click on that, and you're in business, and so am I. I'm also on Patreon, patreon.com/Mike40YOB. Patreon.com/Mike40YOB. Go ahead and join the army. Join the Patreon army. Nobody's been doing it recently because there's been no shows, and I totally get that. I understand. We just lost someone, our friend Greg. Greg, thank you. I'll write you a note, but you're nice to have been a supporter for as long as you were, and I do appreciate it. And I really appreciate everybody who's staying a supporter, even in the face of inactivity and silence. And you're very kind, and I will make it up to you somehow, someday, or perhaps I'll do it Marshall Crenshaw style. Someday, some way, I'll make it up to you. Ba-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. All right. Patreon.com/Mike40B. Go ahead, 40YOB. Jeez, I can't even give you the fucking address. So dumb. Patreon.com/Mike40YOB. Become a Patreon patron, and I'll consider you my best friend. That's a perk. That's a tier. Best friend. And you know what tier it is? All of them. Any tier you choose makes you my best goddamn friend, because you know what? The very fact that you would even consider me, you would send me anything to keep me afloat or make sure that I don't wind up in the sewer, in the gutter. I might wind up in the gutter. Do you want me in the gutter, folks? And I know you're like, well, I'll bet you get some funny stories from the gutter. Yes, but there's nowhere to plug the microphone in when you're in the gutter. I mean, you can try to do that. Isn't there some bullshit where, like, isn't there electricity in grass? Like, if you do it the right way? Isn't that a thing that they do when you're camping? Like, you build a fire and you use sticks, but then there's some sort of conduit of water and grass makes electricity. I don't know. Again, I didn't graduate fucking high school. I don't know shit about science. I told you that earlier. Let the scientists parse that shit out. Tell me about nuclear bombs and nonsense and fallout. I don't have any fucking clue. Why you know what I do? I talk into microphones, and an increasingly rare occasion that I do that. You know what's funny? Like, I'm in this mode where I'm in my brain, I'm like, hey man, what, you know, like I see things and I go, I would be perfect for that. and I'm furious that I wasn't on their radar screen. And it's so stupid. It's like, it's so dumb to be furious. What you do is you make your way, and you do the things you got to do to try to make it work, right? You reach out, you do your thing, you make your phone calls, whatever. I think there's something called a resume. That's actually the French version of resume. But I just saw a thing that went live yesterday, and I was like, I would be perfect for that. And then I'm like, but I'm old and I have no chance. It's ridiculous. But I see things and I'm just like, Jesus, if that would be like, why wouldn't you, whatever, it doesn't matter. I'm so silly, but it does. I do a lot of that where I'm like, why I could do that. I'm so bad at that. And again, but I'm locked in my fucking apartment behind like 30 doors, like fucking Don Adams going through and Get Smart, going to a phone booth. You'll never find me. I'm locked behind a fucking safe and a spinning wheel and 4 combination locks. You better fucking Ocean's 11 a crew if you want to extricate me from this fucking cubbyhole, because that's the only way you'll do it. Patreon.com/Mike40YOB. Why wouldn't you join? You would, wouldn't you? I think you should. Why wouldn't you? And I gotta be honest, man. I think I'm onto something with that fucking Ocean's 11 idea. That's you better fucking hire a little Chinese dude and hide him in a fucking push cart and have him do a fucking backflip to open my front door so somebody can come here and give me something, please. Let's buy a SWAT van together and we'll put a tree in it and we'll film it fortuitously so that an hour later it'll pay off. Won't that be great for all of us to do that together? I've got Ocean's 11 on the brain because I can't stop diving into it because it's the goddamn comfort food of movies, because it's cool guys doing cool shit in a cool place. Oh, and I lay on my couch, I sit on my couch, feet up on the old cocktail bench, a couple of pillows over my chest, because I like weight on me. Oh my God, there's nothing. Is there anything better than having somebody like sit on your lap or like fucking and facing you and just bury their face in your neck or your face in their neck? And you know what I miss? Human touch. Wouldn't that be fun? All right. Anyway, no one wants to hear about that stuff. Patreon.com/Mike40YOB. Hire a little Chinese guy to do a backflip and become a member. I'll tell you what, if you become a member, I will hire a little Chinese guy to do a backflip. What do you say about that? That puts us all in this together. We will all go down together. That's not the Downeaster Alexa. Which song is that? Is that Goodnight Saigon? I think it is. I don't know. He wrote a lot of songs about boats and helicopters. What the fuck? That's a guy. He's fucking on Long Island. He's mad at everybody. Then he writes songs about Vietnam and fucking Uptown Girls. Jesus Christ, that guy lived a life. Look, I'm hiding in here doing nothing. I got to get out and meet some Uptown Girls. I got to go meet some Vietnam veterans. I got to meet, I got to not start the fire. That's what I need to do. I have to not start the fire is what I really need to do. I should be moving out. I'll tell you what, if this is moving up, I should definitely be moving out. Go Mama Leone. Did I mention I have a radio station and a television station? I do. I use the television station quite often. That's my twitch.tv/the40year-old boy. The radio station would be this podcast. But also I have YouTube. You know what? I have youtube.com/ Mike40, or no, the 40-year-old boy. YouTube.com/ the 40-year-old boy. I'm there, man. Go find me. All these old podcasts are up. We're going to start putting video clips. I'm not going to tell you shit we're going to start doing because I never do it. And then you're like, I hate this guy. So don't hate me because I'm beautiful. That's what Rula Lenska says. No, Rula Lenska says friends are coming from Europe. I have so dated myself in the show. I'm like, you go ahead. You got to be current, man. And yet I'm talking about Russia, Ukraine. That's a war from 1400. So what the fuck? Who cares? Literally, there's no point in me being current. Everything I talk about is in the past. And the past, as you know, is prologue. YouTube.com/ the 40-year-old boy. Go check me out, man. Subscribe. Old podcasts and other things. There's no other things up there yet. Well, there's some things. There's some old stand-up. There's a billion. Just blow the dust off your computer and watch me do something, please. And then twitch.tv/ the 40-year-old boy. Now that's cooking. I do this. That's cooking. We do a couple of snaps where I'm on there all the time cooking with gas Monday through Friday. Except for today when I slept through it because I'm a fucking goon. Or yesterday, I guess now, Friday. Monday through Friday, I'm there. Right now, we're still doing Red Dead Redemption 2 or replay, horse opera. We're hunting legendary animals. We're doing amazing things. We're earning money. We're catching bounties. We're finding fuzzy vegetables. I now have to find, I just mailed somebody a rabbit. God damn, this show's amazing. Red Dead Redemption 2 is right now what we're playing over there at twitch.tv/ the 40-year-old boy. Go over there and follow or subscribe, wouldn't you? That'd be good. I had people questioning because, I haven't done a podcast in a while. And on the Facebook fan club page, the Westside 86 Jokers page, a good friend was like, does Mike make money over there at Twitch? Because someone's like, man, where's this podcast been? And our friend Kiki was like, hey, you should come over to Twitch. Mike's on all the time. And this guy's like, does Mike make money at Twitch? And which is something Mex asks me all the time, too. He's like, hey, man, why the fuck are you on Twitch when you should be doing a podcast? And he doesn't say it like that, but the implication's there. And he's not wrong. The podcast is the base of the pyramid. It's the bread and butter. It's why I'm here. It's the only reason you guys know me. And maybe you don't want to watch me shoot people on the fucking trail. I don't blame you. You just want to hear me talk. Well, that's why I'm here, and while I'll be here in the future, because I always say, if you keep listening, I'll keep talking. And then I've betrayed that over the past couple of months, but I'm still talking. It's just more, a little fewer and far between, but that won't be the case going forward. He said to himself right now out loud in a way that he can't deny. But as we all know, talk, TIC, buddy, TikTok, TIK, but TIC, talk is cheap. TLC, don't go chasing those waterfalls. How about that? You know what? I can assure you of this. I will not chase waterfalls. But talk is cheap, and I can't say the things that I will do or won't do in the future. I can say, because again, even if I say I'm making the effort or I'm doing all this, you won't believe me until it's fucking done. So I just got to do shit. There's no reason to yap. But even though that's my whole existence is I yap. The whole thing is I talk. I try to bring it to life. I do this where I go ahead and I talk, and then when I don't talk, then I'm just voiceless. And I used to be a voice for the voiceless. No, I never was. What if I was? What if I do that? Well, maybe I put me on the air in Ukraine. I could be their Tokyo Rose. I could talk a bunch of bullshit about the Russians. Oh, man, did you know the Russians have no balls? Seriously, they have to give them away when they go into the army. But they show all these fucking... But then again, who knows? Then I can talk about... But then what if Russia wins the war? Then they come after me. Then they try to put fucking polonium in my goddamn fucking pumpkin pie. And by the way, did you know that? They can only put polonium in things that start with P. God, I'm cracking myself up. Look at this. And it's the end of the show. It's the end of the goddamn show. I shouldn't be this funny. But you know what? By rights and by laws, I should not be this funny at the end of the goddamn show. I should have been this funny earlier in the show, and it wouldn't have made it. Because you know what? You slogged through the other couple hours, and now look at me now. Now I'm top of the fucking list. Cream of the crop. A number one. I've got those little town blues.
If there's anything I like more than me, it's people who like me. I love me, but if you love me, I love you. 'Cause you know why we both love me. How great am I? Let's talk about that for a while. And by a while, I mean forever.
Hi there, I'm Jimmy Pardo, host of the award-winning podcast Never Not Funny. It's a show that's been described as hanging out with friends you never knew you needed. Well, each week I get together with my co-host Matt Belknap and great people from the worlds of comedy, Broadway, music, TV, movies. You get the point. Hey, Matt, give me some examples of who we've had on.
Oh my God, Jimmy, we've had comedy legends like Conan O'Brien, Amy Poehler, and Sarah Silverman, Hollywood royalty like Rob Reiner and John Hamm, and members of classic rock bands like Styx and Kiss.
Hey, Never Not Funny's been around since 2006, so we must be doing something right. So why not join our nonsense each week? Never Not Funny,
the fastest hour in podcasting.